The meeting is called the order for the City Council meeting September 19th, 2019. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Councilman Asville.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Wheeler. Mayor Bodier.
Present.
Police Chief Walker. Fire Chief St. Cyr.
Present.
Finance Director Todd Tunion.
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry is present. And Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee present.
Okay, just want to make a quick announcement. Recently, we had one of our garbage men passed away, actually while he was out on the route delivering, and he fell from the back of the truck and he had a heart attack. I think that's what happened. He had a heart attack and didn't make it. He was really cool. He was the one that really went that extra effort and picked all the trash up that they weren't supposed to be picking up, and his name was Brian Mitchell, and I'd just like to just take a moment for him. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to move that we add a item to special presentation, the state of the sewer fund, that I'll be presenting if it's approved.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Chatelain, to add state of the sewer fund to special presentations. All in favor?
Move to open the public
I'm
comment
sorry,
period.
all right, you got us. Thank you, Jason. Move to open the public hearing. No one coming for a public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Do you have a vote?
Yay. Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Sewer, state of the sewer will be
Add it to
added to
number
special
6.
presentations. Number 6. No, not number 6. Well,
1, 2, 3. We have 4A and 4B, so yeah.
Yeah, we got a
number
4A and
6.
4B.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
okay, Madam Clerk. Special presentations.
Special presentations, number 1, Assistant Fire Chief Kevin Murray, 45 years of service to the City of Harahan and the Harahan Fire Department.
Kevin can go anywhere he wants.
All right, this is a special recognition to Assistant Fire Chief Kevin Murray. He's been here for 45 years. He served this city. Thank you very much. Okay, the award says, in recognition of your dedication and service to the City of Harahan and the Harahan Fire Department for 45 years, we appreciate all you have done and continue to do for our community. Thank you very much.
Kevin, I've had the pleasure of working side by side with you for the last 32 of those 45 years. And you've earned every bit of this and more, and there's no way that we could ever express properly what we should and what you deserve. But not just working next to you, I'm more proud to call you my friend.
All right, I'd like to see if I can also get someone to make a motion to add to special presentations for a better Harahan and their statement of what.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Chatelain.
Second.
Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Time out.
You want to open for public discussion?
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to open for a public hearing. No one coming to speak on that public hearing? You want to speak? No. All right, public hearing is now closed. All right, motion to add for Better Harahan to special presentations?
Yay.
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 5 yeas, 0 nays. For Better Harahan is added. And I have one more special presentation. I'd like to thank people who come to this city and help us and go above and beyond. And I don't think we do it enough in our lives. I mean, there's so much, negativity in the world. And when people come and do stuff that's great and out of the way, I think that's something that should be recognized. And each month, I want to try to go out. I'm going to look for that special citizen, that should be recognized for something that they've done for this great city, because we do have tons of great people here that bust butt, and they're like the unsung heroes that, no one ever really recognizes. So I'm going to recognize Mr. Ray Piccone with Delta Enterprises. Mr. Ray is the one that actually came in and replaced that pole out front in the building, redid the whole new walkway for us, and really cleaned up the front of City Hall. And and it just came out beautiful, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. Okay, that's not Ray, y'all. That's Mr. Barry Thomas. And but he was definitely here, and he helped with the whole thing. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Barry. You're the man. I appreciate it. All right, Madam Clerk.
We skipped number 2, City of Harahan Civil Service Board, special recognition.
Okay. City of Harahan Civil Service Board special recognition will be postponed at this time. We will bring them up at a future date.
All right, number 4, State Representative Kirk Talbot, air quality update.
This is very exciting. I'm excited about State Representative Talbot's announcement tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of the council. As your mayor's well aware of, when session started last year, we started working on trying to secure some funding for our own air quality monitoring unit that we'll have here. Last Friday in Baton Rouge, I attended a appropriations committee meeting, and we got that money. We got it secured. We had a good back and forth with Secretary Brown, and basically we're going to get our own air quality monitoring unit for the Harahan Riverage area. It will be put up sometime in the next several months. Where exactly, we don't know yet. We're going to let the experts kind of pick wherever they think the best currents are. And this monitoring device will pick up particles from the river, as well as smells from chemical plants, landfill, and whatnot. So, I think it's long overdue. We need it. And, I know they're making progress over there, but obviously we still smell it, and we still have issues with that. If I got 100 calls from Mayor Baudier, I got one call from constantly asking me during set, when are we going to get it? How's it going? The pestering was taken very well by me, and you stayed on me, and I can't thank you enough, Mr. Mayor, for pushing us and getting this done. But I'm just excited that it's coming. We're also going to have the mobile unit come down at the end of September for 5 or 6 days. But this unit, Secretary Brown said it can be here 6 to 8 months, however long we need it. So the whole video of our back and forth with Secretary Brown is on the Harahan Riverage Quality Facebook page if you want to see the actual testimony and how he describes it. Just to make sure it's real, because he's all there and he says it's going to happen. The money's been appropriated, it's paid for, and it's going to happen. So thanks again, Mr. Mayor and Council, for y'all's help and constantly keeping me up to date on what's going on, because I know I live right down the road, so I'm well aware of it. But we're excited, and it's long overdue, and I think this is something that'll be great for the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Just so you know, State Representative Talbot would be in session, and I would be texting him, get that money, we need to do something. And
Right.
I know a lot of people don't know this, but at the very beginning of this, because usually every good conversation starts at a ballroom, right? So at
Right.
the very beginning of this, when the smell issues started happening, Chief St. Cyr and I were at My Brother's Bar. It was the grand opening of My Brother's Bar, and Mr. Gerald Ebay was there. And we were all talking, and that was before Gerald became really as active as he
Right.
did on his air quality site. And that's how we got the ball rolling. And behind the scenes, Chief St. Cyr and I have been meeting with the talking with the LSU professors, the Tulane professors, and we came up with this thing, man, we need this air quality equipment, right? We need our own. We're tired of hearing everybody else's BS. We want to know for ourselves. And man, I started laying in on the Representative Talbot, and he was responsive. But I'm telling you, we need that money. We need that money. I initially asked him for $500,000, but I'm very happy with the 100 that you got for us, and man, that is
Well,
incredible.
Which we would still like, by the way.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. And keep in mind, the parish is working on having a kind of a network of different air quality monitoring units on top of that are going to go around the whole Wagaman, West Bank, River Ridge, Harahan area as well. But I just think it's important. We need our own. You know, we've suffered enough. We've gone through this. We pay our taxes. We send money to
100%.
Baton Rouge. We want our own. We got it. And hopefully it can't get here soon enough. It should be here the next several months. And, you know, I'm excited to see it. And maybe at the next meeting, I'll have some kind of artist rendering of what it's going to look like. And hopefully we'll know where it's going to be by the next meeting as well.
Man, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Before you step away. Before you, yeah. So I want to, just want to say a quick thank you. A couple months ago, I actually saw it on Facebook. I brought the picture to you about those 2 drains over here by the old
Right.
Chinese restaurant. And I
Right.
just want to let you know they were out there working this week to
Good.
get them fixed, and I really appreciate you getting with the state transportation department to get them
Good.
fixed.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Thank you. And anytime y'all see a ditch or something like that, especially along Jefferson Highway, you know, let me know. I mean, we've, you know, the mayor and Councilman Buddy and Chatelaine, we've all, you know, we've met with different DOT people, and, you know, they're very friendly. They want to help. As soon as, you know, we let them know, they'll be out there cleaning them. So just thanks for informing me.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
That is
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I make a motion to move some stuff around so we can do for a better Harahan first?
Okay, we have a
While the
motion by
firemen
Councilman
still here.
Chatelain to amend the agenda, moving for a better Harahan up to next and special presentations, which we'll call it 4C. You would like to open for public hearing. Public hearing is open. No one come to speak before it. Public hearing is now closed. All right, do I have a motion?
Second.
All right, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. For a better Harahan is now up.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jennifer Case. I'm part of For Better Harahan. This is Tina Hunter, Mardell Broom, Tracy Brown, and Maria Newlett. And my phone went to sleep. So as you guys know, this past Friday, For Better Harahan had an event at Saturday. I'm sorry? Did I say Friday? I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. We were there Friday, too. So we had an event this past Saturday at the Harahan Playground. The purpose of this event was to raise money for the Harahan Fire Department's breathing equipment. They had a shortfall in funding, and so we wanted to do our part to help with that. We are excited and pleased to announce that we have exceeded our goal. We raised enough money to cover the expenses of the breathing equipment for our firefighters. Our number one priority going into this fundraiser was our firefighters and their safety. We couldn't have done this without the support of our generous sponsors, volunteers, and the community. We would like to thank Mayor Tim Baudier, and the council for all your guys' help in this. You guys did awesome. It was really incredible, even your Facebook stuff. We'd also like to thank Chief Walker and Assistant Chief Moody and all the police officers that came out to help make sure that everything was safe and good, and also to help their brothers with HFD. We heard the needs of HFD, and the community came together to back them. We appreciate everything our first responders do to keep us safe. It is with excitement and pride that we would like to present this check to Chief Todd St. Cyr.
Do we have a drum roll? And the amount?
$31,133. Well done, Harahan. We couldn't have done it without y'all.
It was the dunking.
It was the donkey booth, Gary. You're the winner.
How nice. Do y'all want to?
Mike, you want to come stand up back here? We can move out the way. They can stand up.
Y'all, this is what community does when we all come together. This is what we can do.
Yeah, you're going to go up here. We'll slide over. I know, Jason's on that. Thank you.
He's not talking to me.
You take one without me and then take one.
Thank you, folks, very much.
I hit the most on the dunking booth, yes. So again, not sure if I'm the most hated or the most liked.
Love.
So it was, I think,
Craig had the coldest.
Craig had the coldest, yes.
I think people just like the way that you gracefully fell in the water, so that's what I think it was about. So real quickly, before we move on to the next item, I'd like to say thank you for Bella Harahan and all this group of awesome ladies that got together and decided that they wanted to help us with the breathing equipment. You've heard us scream. And most of all, these guys back here, the way that you made them feel after how they felt most recently. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Ready? All right, special presentation number 5, or actually,
On the
4B. Postal Wade in Netterville, City of Harahan 2018 audit.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Smith. I'm an audit partner with Postal Wade Netterville, and I'm going to present the results of the 2018 audit to you. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free and stop me. So first thing I want to report that the final 2018 audit reports were issued on time to the Legislative Auditor's Office by the June 30th deadline. And it's several reports that we issue, so I'm going to start going through the highlights of the financial statement audit report. So first thing to report is that the audit opinion was a clean or unmodified opinion for 2018, which is what you would expect. And what I'll do is go through some of the highlights of the financial statements themselves. If you look, the report's a big report, so if you look at it in more detail, you may have additional questions, but I'll just give some important information just to point out to you. So first is the fund balance for the general fund at the end of 2018 was $103,000. This was a decrease of $287,000 from 2017. So the general fund had a loss of $287,000. If it was not for the fact that the sewer fund transferred 200,000 over to the general fund in 2018, the general fund would have had a deficit at the end of 18. The total governmental funds, which include the general fund and other governmental funds, had an ending fund balance of $1,020,000. So this includes funds that are in your capital projects fund and your sales tax fund. So all of your funds had an ending fund balance of $1,200,000. And this was a decrease in total of about $320,000 from the prior year. The total governmental fund balance, like I mentioned, was $1 million. But if you back out the amounts that are restricted for capital projects, amounts restricted for debt service, and your property balances, you end up with a deficit of about $1.6 million in your governmental funds. So next, for the sewer fund, prior year reported fund balance, this is for the end of 2017, was about $3,050,000. There was a restatement in the 2017 financial statements for the sewer fund because of about 300,000 of invoices that should have been recorded in 17 that were not recorded. So that decreased the fund balance that was previously recorded from 3 million to about 2.7 million. In 2018, the sewer fund had a loss of about 316,000. So your ending equity for the sewer fund was about 2.4 million. Again, that $300,000 loss in the sewer fund, part of it was attributed to the 200,000 that was transferred to the general fund. So if that transfer had not occurred, the loss would have been about 100,000 in the sewer fund. Yes. So next, the other part of the financial statements are pretty consistent from the prior year. So if you look in the report, you'll see the financial statements, and then you'll see footnotes to the financials behind those statements. And those footnotes are generally consistent from year to year. The only significant change was the addition of a footnote to discuss that restatement that I talked about in the sewer fund. The next report that I want to talk about is the report on internal controls. So because you are a governmental entity, we submit a separate report that includes any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal controls, so your findings. So I'll just walk through each of the findings that were reported. And the first is finding 1, which is failure to amend the budget. So actual expenses in the general fund and the sales tax fund exceeded the budget by 5%. And when you anticipate that your actual expenses will exceed the budget, the governmental entity is required to amend the budget for that fact, and that did not occur in 2018 for those two funds. Finding 2 was related to required reporting to the DOJ. There were some reports that were required that had not been submitted timely. So as of May 2019, those reports had been submitted for 17 and for 18, but at the end of 18, the audit period that we were auditing, those reports had not been submitted. Finding 3 is related to noncompliance with public bid law. One of the items that we tested was a purchase that should have received either telephone bids or telephone quotes or had been bid out, and that item was not bid out. Finding 4 was related to the debt covenants. Because you have the DEQ loan, you're required to have 110% in revenues of the total future payment, principal and interest payment on debt within a particular year. So you didn't meet that required 110% ratio. You were at 37% for the year. So with the millage that was previously passed, you would expect to see an increase in revenues in 2019, but it still is not yet to be determined whether you will be able to meet the covenant ratio in 2019. Finding 5 was related to lost court revenue due to inappropriate staffing. So during part of 2018, some traffic tickets had to be sent to the first judicial court because of turnover in the court here. So that was revenue that was lost to the first judicial court. In addition, there were 4 findings in 2017. I won't go through them, but findings that did not reoccur in 2018. So some of the findings that I just mentioned did occur in 17, and they were repeat findings, but you have 4 additional findings that did not repeat. The next I'll go through is the management letter. So in addition to the report I just mentioned where we talk about material weaknesses and significant deficiencies, we also, if there are other control deficiencies that we find that we feel we need to report to you, we would include that in a separate management letter. So there were 4 items that were in that letter. So one was for payroll. We noted instances where there wasn't always approved time records that were maintained by the city during the year, and I know that management is in process of making sure that all of that documentation is kept up to date and updated so that for future years that you would have that documentation available. Next is accrued sick and annual leave. Those records for accrued sick and annual leave were not updated until the end of the year, so we recommend that that is tracked throughout the year. So when employees take leave, that is tracked so that you know what balances are available for each individual person throughout the year. The third management letter comment was related to review of invoices. So we noted an instance where there were 3 invoices for the same vendor for the same day, and it appeared that it was for the same thing, but it was hard to tell, and we could not tell if it was for the same thing because those invoices were not detailed enough to be able to determine were you paying 3 times for the same thing, or was the vendor invoicing you for 3 different things in that same day. And the last management letter comment was related to information technology. So just making sure that you have someone who reviews access to your IT systems on a regular basis. We noted instances where there were people who are end users who had administrative access who probably should not have administrative access. Just making sure on a regular basis someone is reviewing who has access to your IT systems throughout the year. The next report that I'm going to report on is the statewide agreed upon procedures. So the state of Louisiana requires all entities to get these additional procedures performed in addition to the audit that focus on internal controls of each governmental entity and written policies and procedures. So we did identify some exceptions that are included in that report with management's responses. We did not determine that any of those exceptions were significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, so they were not included in our findings report that I talked about earlier. But just to let you know that this is one of the additional reports that we do look at, your written policies and procedures that the state wants us to look at to make sure that you have written down and just making sure that you have them implemented as well. And then the last letter that we issued is a communications to governance letter. So for each of our audits, we're required to report to the board and to the council certain things about the process of the audit. And just if you have any questions of us, just to let us know. But the first thing is to point out is that your significant accounting policies are included in your financial statement audit report in footnote 1, and there were no changes to accounting policies during the year. As part of the audit, we test significant estimates. So the biggest estimate in your report is the net pension liability, and we review that for reasonableness. So we did not have any exceptions or any issues as part of testing of your significant estimates. We had no difficulties encountered during the audit. If we did, we would be required to report that to you. We also had no disagreements with management. We had one unrecorded adjustment that was about $5,000, so we considered it immaterial, so that adjustment was not recorded. And finally, at the end of the audit, we obtained a representation letter. And it includes a list of things, but really, in total, management is representing to us that the financial statements are materially correct. All adjustments have been recorded. We've been provided everything that we've requested. There's nothing else out there that we should have known that we were not informed of. So those are all of the reports that we issued. Do any of you have any questions about the audit process or about the financial statements themselves?
I just have one question, just so I'm making sure I'm understood correctly. So you said our ending fund balance of 2018, you said was 103, that was in the positive, correct? But
Yes.
that was only due to a transfer of 200,000 from the sewer. So if that money wouldn't have been, we would have been negative about 100,000.
Correct.
Okay, I
For the
wanted to
general
make
fund,
sure that
yes.
we were talking general and not sewer.
Yes, yes. So the ending fund balance in the general fund was 103,000, and then the sewer fund was 2.3 million.
Was that transfer approved by the council?
I'm not sure if it was directly approved, but that amount was what was in the budget that was approved by the prior council, to the best of my recollection. So it was not specifically addressed in a specific ordinance, but was included in the overall budget that the council had approved at the beginning of the year.
We've heard that before from Councilman.
We have, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what the balance for 2018 for the police department?
We don't have that because it's included in the general fund, so we have the total amount for the general fund. I don't know, Todd, if you have that.
Well, yeah. So Yeah, so I think what you're looking for, Chief, is the police department's expenditures compared to the budgeted expenditures. And on page 49 of the report, the police department underspent the budget by approximately $78,000 during the 2018 year.
And that was a problem I was saying in the past when I get in financial statements that we left almost $79,000 that we could have used for the police department. We didn't get to spend.
Any other questions?
Think we're okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Special presentation number 5, Chief Walker, current state of the Harahan Police Department.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Council, viewing public. First, I want to start off with, recently we signed an agreement, a cooperative agreement with the Jefferson Parish Human Services Authority. And with that, we've got a drug collection box, similar to a mailbox that's on the street. It's green, it's secured to the floor in our lobby. So your unwanted medications can be placed in there 24/7. Now, if it's something, I'm going to bring Rosanna up from Jefferson Parish Home Service Authority to go over. The things that are acceptable are prescription drugs, prescription patches, medications, ointments, over-the-counter medications, samples, and medications for pets. What's not acceptable, and that will fit in the box, is aerosol cans, bloody or infectious waste, hydrogen peroxide, inhalers, needles or sharps, thermometers, and medications from business and clinics. And we will have the drug take-back program twice a year, where you can take your other drugs. So I think Rosanna has a few things she'd like to say in regards to this.
Good evening, everyone. And I will have some flyers that I'll hand out afterwards that also detail what you can and cannot put in there and why this is important. So as Chief Walker said, I work with Jefferson Parish Human Services Authority. We're an agency that provides primary care, behavioral health, mental health, substance abuse services, and developmental disability services. So part of our mission is making sure that the residents of Jefferson Parish have healthy, productive lives. And this plays a big part in that because it ensures that some medications that, whilst they're very important for people like individuals in hospice, once they're not used anymore and they're not needed, they don't end up on the streets in the wrong hands, they don't end up in the hands of our children or youth, and they don't end up in the water table, because if you flush it, if you throw it in the garbage, that's where it ends up. And I personally don't want to drink that. So this is a wonderful partnership that we have with the Harahan Police Department. And it's one of the many drop boxes that we have in Jefferson Parish. So we have 7 total. We have one right next door. We have 2 with Oshner. One of them is at the Jefferson Highway campus. One is at the Kenner campus. We have 3 with Majoria Drugs. We have one on Metairie Road, Barataria, that's all the way at the end of Barataria out in Estelle. We have one on Terry Parkway, and then we also have one with NOLA Discount Pharmacy on Veterans Highway right by Bonneville. So this is a wonderful thing for our community. Please use them, and thank you very much.
Again, it's in the lobby, it's open 24/7, so there's no reason to keep these unwanted drugs, medications at your house. And we hope y'all use them. They'll pick them up every week and a half. They will come by and properly dispose of them. We've had a problem twice in the last couple of years. Our incoming phone line is with Cox Cable, Cox Communications. We met with them this past week. They're working on a system to where if our phone line goes out, that they can route it to 911. It hasn't been confirmed yet. They're working on it. The reason I'm saying it, in the event you dial the police station, for some reason a 911 operator answers, give that operator the information. We work off their radio dispatch system. So I'll give you more information on it as it comes available. We had a resident come to the station this past month, debit card. Personally, I'm not a fan of debit cards because they are connected to your checking account. And if somebody gets a hold of it, they drain your checking account. In all probability, you'll get your money back, but it might take you a couple of months. What had happened, they used the debit card, signed the receipt, didn't look at the receipt. When they got their bank statement at the end of the month, the cashier made a $50 cash advancement. So I suggest you all check your receipts if you're using a debit card to make sure somebody didn't put a cash advancement on it. Okay. I was contacted today. Michelle Lane is one of our residents. She's very active with the Parkinson's group. They having their walk, the Louisiana Walk for Parkinson's, on Saturday, October 12th at Lafreniere Park. She left some information I'd like to leave with you, Mayor, if you could leave it at City Hall. Some
sure.
brochures.
It is, yeah.
Really some in the front where you can sign up. It's a worthy cause. And one last thing, Tuesday, October 15th, from 6 to 8, we're having our annual Night Out Against Crime at St. Rita in the rear. So, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming.
Chief, what time does that Night Out Against Crime start? The Night Out Against, what time does it start? 6 to 8.
And what's the date, Chief?
October 15th. Shoot, I wrote 6 to 8, I got it.
All right, special presentations number 6, Councilman Buddy, and State of the Sewer Fund.
You want to amend the agenda, move Clay up first?
Oh, sure.
Can I make a motion, can I have someone make a motion to move Clay Cangelosi up in front of Councilman Buddy's presentation of State of the Sewer?
A second.
I'll make the motion.
Oh,
We gotta add 'em.
I'm sorry,
We
well,
have to add 'em.
I'm sorry, Councilman Chatelain?
I'll make a motion to add Clay, special presentation.
All in, all right.
A second.
Move to open a public
Yep,
hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. Public hearing is now closed. That's for Clay Cangelosi and to come up and do his presentation. I now would like to have a vote.
Yeah.
Yay.
All in favor, all right, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Then, welcome to the podium, Mr. Clay. Come on up.
How you guys doing? We had our first responder event on July 20th and had to take at least a month off, so sorry it took a little bit longer to, working on this for 6 months, just kind of had to have at least a little break and get caught up on some other personal issues. So we're here to donate, after all of our expenses and everything that came through, I think we had like 1,100 and some change left over after we paid Vince Vance and, the remaining expenses that we had. We kept $1,000 in the checking account to keep it, $100 in the checking account to keep it open. And we have left over $1,000 that we're going to give. We've actually voted, instead of splitting it up and giving it to the police department, I talked to Chief and he was okay with this. And we're going to donate the full $1,000 to the fire department to use either towards the fire truck or any needs that they need. No problem. Right, no problem, thank you. And also, next year we're going to do it again at the same time. Please come out and support it. I know the rain kept a lot of people away this past, last year the heat kept a lot of people away, the rain this year. We had a decent turnout. We had like 150 show up, and a lot of them were our sponsors that helped put on the event. But also, I want to make a note, December 14th. Now, this event costs us absolutely nothing. We're doing our annual Senior Citizen We Care banquet. We're moving it here to Harahan, and it's going to be at the VFW Hall. It's free, don't cost anything. Every senior gets fed Christmas dinner. You're going to get turkey, you're going to get ham, you're going to get the whole works. Every senior leaves with a gift, and of course, we're going to have Vince Vance and the Valiants performing, and we're working on Lisa Lane right now. It's in the works. It looks like we're going to have her because she's going to be here a couple of days later doing something at Andreas, so it'll work out in her schedule. So we're going to have that whole workout with Vince Vance and Lisa Lane here doing that whole event, and it's completely free, like I said. And we usually have anywhere between 300 and 400 attend the Christmas banquet. So what we usually do is we say, hey, it's first come, first serve. You get there, you get a seat. We try not to turn away anybody, but it's completely free. If you want to have any questions, just get with me. December 14th. And you can go to our website. It's hopefoundationofla.com. hopefoundationofla.com.
You have a time set for that yet, Clay?
It's going to start at 6 to 9.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I know we're following a little bit of different procedure tonight, but I just want to let everybody know why we are opening every amendment to public hearing, because we've been reported to the district attorney's office saying that we're violating open meetings law. So we're trying to do everything we can possibly to make sure we don't violate any open meetings law. So before this body takes a vote on anything at all, we will open the public hearing and close public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, while they're setting up, make a motion to amend the agenda to add a planning and zoning nomination under new business.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Asbill. You want to open the
Second.
public hearing?
Open for public hearing.
Open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forward. Public hearing is now closed. Second by?
Second.
Second by Councilman
That's number
Johnson.
Number two.
All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, 4 yeas. Yeah,
No,
five.
it's actually number four.
It's on the new business, Jason?
Planning and zoning nomination under new business, number four.
Getting there.
Can I see that?
It'll jump up in a second.
No, I'm saying at the back of the light on.
Oh.
Ms. Rena, can you see that back there?
Don't try to do that.
No, like.
Can you see the screen?
Are you okay with it like this? Or
No, yeah.
All right, folks, this presentation is just to go through the state of the sewer fund, where we are and how we got here. There's about 25 slides. We're not going to spend a lot of time on any slides, so this shouldn't take more than 10, 15 minutes, I hope. This schedule, which I don't expect anybody to concentrate on, was put together to recap 4 years of financial information driven by cash-type items regarding the sewer fund. The sewer fund is what's called the proprietary fund. It's a term I just learned this year. It's a governmental accounting fund, but it accounts for our sewer department, the collection system, the plant, the expenses, the revenue, as if it were a business. It's got revenue, it's got expenses, the same as any entrepreneurial enterprise would have. Your home business or Exxon Mobil Corporation. We're going to be referring back to some numbers on that schedule. So, state of the sewer fund. As of January 1, 2015, the sewer fund had an unrestricted cash balance in the amount of $159,594. Unrestricted is a key word here. You heard the auditor sort of talk about restricted money and unrestricted money. Unrestricted money is money we can spend. Restricted money means you can't spend it. It's dedicated. It's got a special purpose. We can't spend it. So there's your unrestricted, money you can spend. There's where the $159,000 comes from at the beginning of the last administration. As of the end of last year, or the first of this year, the sewer fund went from a positive cash balance, unrestricted cash balance of $159,594 to an effective negative unrestricted cash balance of $669,143. Now, think of that as being overdrawn in your checking account. And then the bank calls you and says, I want you to pay it. Because we need to eliminate that deficiency. $669,000 at the end of last year, or the January 1, 2019. That's the cash hole that the sewer fund's in. And there it is on statement 2018's ending balance, negative $669,000. The effective negative unrestricted cash balance is the direct result of transfers that were made over a 4-year period from the sewer fund, our sewer business, to the general fund in the amount of $1,085,871. So we took our sewer fund and the city used that much to fund general government. And that's what happened over a 4-year period. We had a spike in 2017 we're going to look at in just a second. Just to kind of repeat, absent that $1,085,000 in transfers from the sewer fund to the general fund, the unrestricted cash balance in the sewer fund would be a relatively healthy and positive $416,000. So had those transfers not been made, we probably I wouldn't be up here this afternoon making this presentation. Just real simple for everybody to see the very simple math. Today we're at a negative of 669, not today, December 31, 2018. If we added back that $1,085,000 that was transferred from the sewer fund to the general fund, we'd have a very positive, healthy balance of unrestricted cash in the sewer fund. Money we could use to pay bills, make repairs, pay for supplies. We heard a little bit from the auditor just a moment ago about the general fund balance, positive balance in the general fund of $103,000 as of the end of 2018. But it's only positive because over the last 4 years, we used $1,085,000 of sewer fund monies. We transferred it, the city transferred it into the general fund. If the city hadn't made those transfers from the sewer fund to the general fund, the balance at the end of 2018 in the general fund would be a deficit of $981,879. There's the simple math. At the end of 2018, we have a positive balance of $103,000. If you subtract the transfers from the sewer fund, you'd end up with a negative balance of $981,879. So a takeaway is that the general fund has a positive balance solely as a result of using sewer fund monies to cover costs in the general fund. To add a little bit of, I don't want to say it, I won't say it. In September of 2016, Mayor Maselli wrote correspondence to elected officials, made a presentation at the council meeting that there was a dire need to increase fees charged to us residents for sewer service in order to comply with the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality $4 million loan that the city had taken out. The council passed that increase at that meeting in September of 2016, with rate increases going into effect on October 1 of 2016. Now, because of the timing, the water department had to be notified. They changed the billing structure. We only pay our water bill every 2 months. We get time to pay the water bill. Virtually no money was collected in 2016, or if any was, it was a small amount. So the majority of that increase, well, the whole year 2017 was, from the city's revenue perspective, positively increased. This is the cash received by the city from customers for sewer charges on our water bills. And you can see 2017 had a huge spike over 2016. And here it is in the graph form. In 2017, the city collected $1,467,993 in user fees on our water bill for sewerage. And you can see that's a huge jump. We were running around $800,000 in 15, 16, so it almost doubled. And we paid that, and we were told it was necessary to be in compliance with the DEQ loan. When I say we, everybody that was in that chamber and everybody that watched this on YouTube, the council, I was in the chamber that night. That was the reason. Compliance with the DEQ loan. When we get back to these transfers to the general fund from the sewer fund, this is where that money goes. When we pay our water bill, the sewer charge goes to the city sewer fund. Backing up for a second. Well, maybe I'm not. There you go. That's where that $1,467,000 came from. So there's a big spike in here in 2017 of transfers from the from the sewer fund to the general fund. Notice it's been running about $200,000 a year. But something happened in 2017. There's a journal entry for a transfer of $346,000 from the sewer fund to the general fund. It took place effectively in 2017. The date of the entry is December 31, 2017. This is just transferring money with a pad and a pencil and a computer. The actual transaction was probably done in January, February, or March of 2018. You can't tell when it was written. I don't know when it was entered into the computer system. But the authority for it is, I'm quoting part of it, the mayor has authorized this transfer. In that written notation on why this journal entry was made, it says there is no guidance as to whether or not the mayor can move monies from one fund to another. I think that's a subject people would debate about. The fact is the 2017 transfer of $346,000 from the sewer fund to the general fund, dated December of 2017, was done without budget amendment, without public notice, without a council vote, and without transparency. I suspect it was done to balance the budget in the general fund. I'll submit to you that it's an inappropriate use of sewer fund monies. So here we are, January 1, 2019, we're overdrawn in effect, overdrawn by $669,000 in our sewer fund. That means we have zero cash to pay for the operation of the sewer fund to make any needed repairs. Now this balance, this negative balance has got to be eliminated. Positive cash balance has got to be created. There's a term used in financial analysis. Many of us are going to be, some of us will be familiar with it, I am, but it's called a current ratio. And banks look at that, lenders, and what it means is that your current assets have to equal or exceed your current liabilities in order to be healthy. And I'll give you an example. I got $10,000 in the bank. It's my current assets. It's assets that are convertible into cash or cash equivalents in the next 12 months. So if I've got, as of the end of the year, if I've got $10,000 in my checking account and I've got a $10,000 certificate of deposit maturing in 6 months, then I've got $20,000 of current assets. Now, on the other hand, if I add up all my credit card bills and my mortgage payments that are coming due in the next 12 months, and it adds up to 100,000, then I've got a ratio of current assets 20,000 to 100,000 in current liabilities. My current assets are less than my current liabilities. I've got a liquidity problem. I may be very solvent. I may be a millionaire, but I don't have enough money to pay my bills. So that's why lenders or people analyzing financial statements, and we're analyzing our financial statement, would look at a current ratio. At the end of 2018, the city's current assets in the sewer fund was $121,498. Current liabilities are in the amount of $1,365,740. That's money that's owed. That's bills that have to be paid. And we have $121,000 to pay it. That $1,203,000 doesn't represent Veolia's payment for January of 2019 or February of 2019. That's money that is owed as of December 31, 2018. A minimally healthy ratio would be 1-to-1, where our current assets equal our current liabilities. For the sewer fund to have a 1-to-1 ratio, which is a minimum by any standard of measurement of financial health, the sewer fund would have needed, at 12/31/2018, would have needed at least $1,244,242 more in current assets. Now, that current assets could be in accounts receivables, because they turn, you collect them, cash, prepaid assets. But the fact of the matter is, to get to a healthy ratio, the sewer fund was upside down by $1,244,242. Now, if not for the $1,085,871 in transfers over a 4-year period from the sewer fund to the general fund, our deficiency to get healthy would only be $158,000, a rather manageable amount, as opposed to $1,244,000, which is not very manageable, at least not right now. In 2019, the administration has learned that there are some major sewer repairs needed. Lift station number 5 has an urgent need for repairs that are estimated at $361,000. That station goes out, there's going to be a lot of people in Harahan that can't flush their toilets. There's $40,000 work needed on a sinkhole repair at the intersection of Wilson Street and Roseland Parkway. Sinkhole repair on Marquette and West, estimated a cost of $100,000. 3 distinct sinkholes in rear yards on Wilson Street with estimated repair cost of $150,000. These are all sewer lines. These are a part of the requirement of maintaining our sewer system. Those 4 items alone have estimated cost of repairs of $651,000. That's not all we need in the sewer. These are just 4 big items. None of that money is in that $1.2 million deficiency. We need that $651 plus the $1.2 million. We also need some backup pumps for our lift stations in case one goes out and we won't have to rent pumps. We spend a lot of money on renting equipment that we should own backups, but we don't have. The city is currently engaged in litigation efforts with previous contractor in an effort to recover costs to correct faulty repairs. We may have some success with that, because part of the repairs that I just mentioned of $651,000, part of those we believe, the city believes, are the result of faulty workmanship, for work that was performed for the city but wasn't inspected. So there's no certainty the city's going to recover the cost of those repairs or even recover the legal fees we're going to spend in an attempt to recover the cost. So what happened, folks, is the previous administration robbed from Peter to pay Paul over a 4-year period. I don't know how else to say it. It eliminated the deficit in the general fund, but that positive balance in the general fund only exists because of the transfers of $1,085,000 from the sewer fund. So the deficit issue was shifted from the general fund to the sewer fund. Oops. Go on. And those transfers devastated the sewer fund. The sewer fund is not, the term is illiquid. Doesn't have cash to pay its bills. The sewer fund's not, it has to be made liquid. The legislative auditor is going to require it. It's required by good management. We've got a lot of expenses. We've got to maintain this fund. It's not an option. And that's where we are. There's no recommendation here. This is just the state of the sewer fund. I think every councilman, the mayor, is aware of the issue, at least maybe not in this much detail before tonight, but now the residents are aware of it. We need to come up with a plan. We need to rectify this, and I'm confident we will rectify it. But it's a sad situation. The end result of I don't want to use the terminology that first comes to mind. So that's it, short and sweet. And if the council is in consent, and the mayor, I'll take any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Can you come up? I'm sorry.
We'll click back on the lights.
Yeah.
I do have a question. These funds that were moved and transferred over, they were, I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact and understand it. They were spent on necessary expenses. The money would have had to come from somewhere out of the general fund before they were moved in there?
I would try to answer that by saying, to the best of my knowledge, the money was spent wisely. It wasn't squandered. But in an effort to make the general fund look balanced, the city raided, past administration raided a sewer fund, which is a standalone fund. It has dedicated revenue sources. It has its own assets. It has its own set of books. And so to cover expenses out of the general fund, which would be this light bill, maintenance on this building, salaries of the council and the administrators in the office, the fire and police chief, their departments, playground. To cover that, we use money from the sewer fund. It sort of be like you borrowing money from your mother, and almost not telling her.
Well, it sounds more like I took it from my little brother and didn't tell him about it.
Bingo.
So my next question then is, and a number of you all were part of the previous administration, so you might be able to shed some light on this, because I truly don't understand. What was the premise or the reasoning for inappropriately, in the end, as the auditors mentioned this evening, taking the money from the sewer fund and moving it to the general fund?
Yeah. I mean, when we, under the prior administration, there was money that was allocated in the budget that the council did adopt that you can move from the sewer to the general, and I think it might have been maybe like 100,000, maybe 2 tops, don't quote me 100%. Outside of that, anything over and above that, this council was not aware of any additional funds. That's why I mentioned when she brought up the fact of, yes, we were positive, but we were positive because $200,000 was moved to make us positive. That was never brought before the council, as mentioned, like in a budget amendment, that the council should have approved, hey, yes, you can take X from the sewer and put it in the general.
So none of that was done with any transparency even to the council? Except for the little wee
Yes,
bit
ma'am.
you just
Yes.
mentioned
When-
and.
When, if I'm
and
not
sh-
mistaken, when the budget was originally adopted in 15, 16, 17, and 18, there were funds that was already there that was coming from the sewer to the general.
That's
If-
the
is-
number that some gentleman up here referred to a little bit earlier. Okay.
Right, and like I said, I think it was as low as maybe as 100,000, I think maybe tops 2, Todd. Okay, so let's say over a period of 4 years, if you maxed out $200,000 a year, it would bring about 800,000 that was taken from the sewer to put toward the general. Now, whether that general, like Mr. Buddy is saying, paid regulatory, paid fire, paid court, paid this, I don't think there's no exact what it is. What it is it was over and above what we approved. It was not brought forth to us to approve.
Okay.
And
So-
part of the problem here is, it would not be inappropriate to take a fund that had excess monies in it, that was flush.
Excess
that
money.
was excess money, that is well capitalized, well funded. It would be good government for a mayor and an administration to take money from a fund with full public disclosure and say, we have more money than we need here. Instead of letting it sit in the sewer fund, we have needs in the general fund, and move that money. That would be good government. We have an obligation not to let money sit idly and maybe raise taxes over here for something else while there's money there. But what happened here is this fund was depleted every year for 4 years, and nobody looked at where it was headed. Now, I can tell you, this council, getting wind of this problem, put a budget together for 2019, and not one penny of sewer fund money has been moved. We could have made the same journal entry. We could have put it in the budget, but we confronted the brutal fact. We can't take money out of the sewer fund. It's upside down. The sewer fund's been upside down for 4 years. If you go back and you look at sewer fund unrestricted cash balances, I believe we've been negative. I'm sorry. Yes, I believe it's been negative for 4 years running with a growing problem. And that's after an increase that the citizens paid in 2017 of $700 and something thousand. So, again, it wouldn't be inappropriate to do this if somebody had said, we're breaking the back of the sewer fund. And confront the problem at the general fund level, where the deficiency existed. We all want the services the general fund provides, but the general funds should live within its budget, just like the sewer fund should live within its budget.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
You can state the name and address.
Sermon, 8123 Huntley Lane. And I'm sorry I was late and I missed the financial discussion. But my question is, Councilman Buddy, you talked about an LDEQ loan, correct? That
Yes.
was paid back, or had to
No,
make
it has not been
payments?
paid back. It's
No, but
still
it
in place.
has to make payments.
Yes.
It is my understanding that is a sewerage type drainage fund
It's not a fund, it's a loan.
loan.
That's primary purpose, or sole purpose, was to make repairs to our sewerage system, not drainage.
Not, okay, sewage system, which this was the sewer fund, right?
Yes,
That-
this is the
okay,
sewer fund
so
we're talking about.
wouldn't that be the same type of, if money was loaned? I know from working for the government, you have to pay these loans back when you make them from the state. And if they get in arrears, the state can come in. Am I understanding this correctly? And shut down your system?
Correct.
Because it's a violation of the Environmental Protection Act.
Well, I don't know if it's, I don't know.
It is a violation
Well,
of the
no,
Environmental
I think
Protection
you're-
Act.
I think
because
you're
I work for the
confusing a
government.
loan with pollution. I
Well,
think they're two different things.
That's what my understanding was from the
You
documents.
may be correct.
It was sewage being released into the canals.
Well,
And I know because.
but again, you're confusing a potential violation of environmental acts with a loan agreement that says certain things have to happen.
But
They're
there's-
two separate documents. They are related because
Right.
we borrowed the money to make needed repairs.
Correct, but it was in arrears from what I read on certain documents I obtained, okay? And this was from the state
I don't know if there
of
was ever a
Louisiana.
payment arrears. There may have been arrears in
I'll see
terms
if I
of
find
funding.
my documents,
Yeah, they may have
because I
been.
had looked
Maybe-
them up,
You may be
okay, on the
correct.
state DEQ website, along with Veola Water.
Mhm.
Okay, that was another problem. So I'd like to have an understanding of this, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and also,
Could you be more specific?
in other words, if this loan was taken out to correct sewer problems that had to be corrected so you wouldn't be in violation of the Clean Water Act, okay, through the state of Louisiana, you know, that's my memory of which came first.
You may be correct.
Okay, so, you know, I mean, to me, it's sewer fund and sewer fund. We all know Harahan has a big problem with sewage because it's an old city. We know that. We know. I have even a piece of property, I know I'm gonna have to do pipe repairs. I know it's coming, okay, with tree roots and all. So this is where we are all in, and I've talked to you, Mayor, about sinkholes, and we've had this issue for 60 years, probably, here in Harahan. I know on our property at the end of Huntley, it's been a problem. Okay, so I know exactly where you're talking about on Wilson Street in Harahan Oaks. So, you know, I just want to be clear. It's all basically sewer, and it's a toilet flushing problem. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay.
What this presentation is
And I
the state of the sewer
appreciate the
fund.
numbers. This helps me clear things in my head, to know what is going to be a good plan to go forward. And that's all I'm interested in.
I think we're all interested in that.
Yes.
Everyone in the city's interested in that.
You know, so, I mean, I'm so glad to hear this, and I thank y'all so much for putting this on, and I'm glad I got here for y'all's presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Majine Casanay, 46 Oak Avenue, Harahan, Louisiana. Vinnie Mosca borrowed $5 million and made no effort to repay the money. You know, when you borrow money, like you said, and you don't pay it back, the government takes your home back. He borrowed money, and the city never paid on that loan for 4 years at least. And that's why we in the problems that we have now.
That's not correct, ma'am. No,
They did not pay the loan.
ma'am,
So
The
Vinnie
payment-
Mosca made a line of credit loan of $5 million, which you take out what you need to make sewer repairs as you use it.
It was
Right.
only 4
It
million.
was only
it was
4
4 million,
We
number
didn't pay the
one.
loan back. We didn't start paying it
How much
back.
money did he take out of that loan?
I have no idea how much he
Thank you.
used.
Ms.
But
Majine,
we never paid any of the loan back.
point of order, Ms. Majine. Point of correction. The transfer of the money from the sewer fund to the general fund is what caused this deficiency in the sewer fund. Has nothing to do with that loan. It has nothing to do with the $4 million DEQ loan. Zero.
But if you don't pay the loan, if you make no effort for the
You're-
people to pay the loan back, we still owe that money.
Well, you,
Wait, Mr. Bobby, I'm sorry, I think Todd
If
wants
I can add, just to make everyone aware, to my knowledge, the city has made all required principal and interest payments on the DEQ loan from inception through today.
And last
I'm
year,
not
we
aware
had
of
to
any
start paying
lack-
more on the
Lack of
loans.
payments.
No, we didn't have to start paying more. What happened was, as part of the covenants on the DEQ loan, just like your mortgage, the bank requires you have insurance. That's like a covenant. We'll lend you this money, but you have to have insurance. If my understanding, under the DEQ loan, there was a requirement, or it was as the council saw fit, they could raise the fees up. So in September of 2016, when the council received notice on a Monday, and the meeting was on a Thursday, Ms. Majine, this council received notification that according to the DEQ, we were not in compliance because of these covenants.
And can I
because
add that that letter had been held for
For a
12
year.
months? That letter had been
We were
held
told
for
on
a
a
year.
Monday and had to vote it on a Thursday because if the city would have to borrow off of that line of credit, they had frozen it. We wouldn't have the ability to draw up on it because
That's
we
right.
were in non-compliance. We weren't in non-compliance for failure to pay. We were in non-compliance because in the ordinance, it says the council shall, at their discretion, raise the fees. Well, the council may have reviewed it and said, you know what, we don't have to raise it at this point. But all of a sudden, the DEQ came in after letter, after letter, after letter, and when you ignore them, guess what? They're gonna shut you down, and that's what they did.
They want their
So we
money
had no-
back.
But it wasn't a payback.
Wasn't about payment.
It was to raise it up so the 110%, just like the auditor said, we could be in compliance. So that's when your water bill went from $2.25 a gallon to almost $5 a gallon.
That's right, your water bill went up.
Yes,
to
ma'am,
start
because
paying
we
it
had to
back.
make compliance, but it wasn't for failure of non-payment. So let's make sure we understand this. The loan has been paid from day one. It's never been late. It's never been missed. The issue with raising the fees came up because they considered us in non-compliance, but not in non-compliance for failure to pay the loan. So the fees went up. To create this 110 profit ratio that we needed, so we could borrow if we needed it. If there was a breakage in Wilson, we can go get $600,000 if we needed it to repair it. So I think Mr. Buddy is correct. We have to understand there's two situations here. We have a DEQ loan that's in itself its own creature. Payments are made timely, have been made timely. The fees were raised. Councilman Bodier at the time went back to the DEQ, decreased those dollars because of the sewer millage that got voted in.
All right, so let me interject. So not what I did was, let me explain. So what happened was, for some reason, all of these massive plans got advanced up, and we needed to do them within a 2-year period. So I went inside, I said, this does not have to be done in a 2-year period. We can spread this back out over 4 years, and by spreading it back out over 4 years,
it down.
we can bring that payment down to equal that covenant of that insurance, which we would have to insure the DEQ.
So then your
So
$5,
I
I
went back
believe.
and got your loan cut, your water bill cut back down
Right, I think it went
to
to like
half of
$4
what
or
that
something.
was.
Okay, but we have two different things we're addressing here. We have a DEQ loan. We have a deficit in the sewer fund of money that was there at one point. Yes, the prior administration did implement in their budgets for 4 years, X amount of dollars for that. But only X amount, Ms. Majine. Money was moved and transferred that exceeded what the council approved.
Without council approval.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Without public notice, without
Nothing.
any transparency.
We knew what we adopted in the budget, and like I said, it was either 100 or 2 each year over a span of 4 years. Anything over and above that, this council has never brought forth a budget amendment that said, hey, guys, we need to take another 200,000 from the sewer and put it in the general.
And the administration, and the current administration, has this responsibility now. When you take money out of a fund, it's the responsibility of the administration to know that you're not causing a hardship for that fund. But this was a simple budget mechanism to help balance the general fund. There was a lot of talk about balancing the general fund over the last 4 years. Well, it was all done with smoke and mirrors. It was all done, the general fund was balanced on the back of the sewer fund. And the sewer fund is now illiquid, doesn't have money to pay its bills. On top of that, it's got $650,000 of repairs that we need to figure out how to do, or we're going to all have problems. So, to repeat, a lot of what you said about the loan is correct. Has to be paid back, but it's never been the cause of this problem. If the city had not transferred $1,085,000 from the sewer fund to the general fund would be in pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. Instead of the horrific condition it's in today, we'd have a fund in pretty good shape. But what you would have seen over a 4-year period were annual deficits in the general fund. And you would have today an annual deficit approaching $1 million if the money hadn't been taken out of the sewer fund. So, as a citizen, I'm appalled. As a councilman, I'm rather shocked. The reality is, though, I live by a theory, and I think we all do. We're better served in life when we confront the brutal facts. Putting our head in the sand, ignoring a problem, only makes the problem worse. So now we know we're really challenged. As a community, as a council, as the mayor, we're really challenged. We've got some serious concerns, some serious issues with our sewer fund. So the goal today is, we know where we stand. We know we've got to do something. We've got to put a plan together to do something. We can't stick our head in the sand. We could stick our head in the sand because that's what's happened for the last 4 years. The administration stuck their head in the sand. They were running deficits in the sewer fund every year as a result of this, but nobody pointed it out to you. Does anybody recall the previous administration saying, guys, we're having a problem with our sewer fund. It's getting worse every year. I don't recall hearing that. So the purpose of this presentation is purely what it says in the title, the state of the Harahan Sewer Fund. We need to do something. I'm not making any recommendations on what to do. Citizens are going to have input. The council members, the mayor is going to have input. It affects us all.
Right, and I know they've had sinkages since Carlos been mayor. of
Ma'am, I'm
Harahan.
sorry, say again?
They've had sinkages in Harahan since Carlo was mayor.
Oh, you
Absolutely.
going way back now.
It's all over Harahan.
Absolutely, ma'am, you're correct. And we're going to have more of them.
Right.
And about 2 years ago, I think it was about 2 years ago, I was sitting in the audience and the then city engineer came up to this podium, standing right where I am now, and he made reference that in addition to the $4 million DEQ loan, there was about, I can't remember if he said $8 or $10 million of needed repairs to our sewer system. That's in addition to the $4 million. Now, part of the $4 million has been spent on these repairs that are failing, and we probably have more that are going to fail because of substandard contracting and lack of inspection. But having said all of that, this is where we are. We can't go back in time and change any of this. We've got to figure out as a community what we're going to do and how we're going to get over this. We have to do something. We can't put our head in the sand. So this is the state of the Harahan Sewer Fund. Again, I'm not making any recommendations. I have my thoughts. Everybody in here will probably have their own thoughts. Everybody up here is going to have their own thoughts. At the end of the day, it's going to fall upon the elected officials to put together a plan. And that'll happen, I'm sure. I'm confident that my fellow elected officials are going to put together a plan to get us to a reasonable financial condition in our sewer fund. Any other questions? I thank you for your patience. This is a pretty dry topic.
Mr. Buddy, I appreciate you doing this, making the citizens aware of it, letting
think
everybody
Mr.
know what's going on. But just as you know, you were elected to office a year ago. You accept the challenge, right?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm up for it. And you know, none of us can run and hide from this. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm Tommy Davis Duffy, and I live on Crislaw Street. And I just want to thank you for putting all this together because just like, I mean, if you can keep the citizens up to speed with what's going on, according to Mr. Maurizio over there, I don't really understand everything, but I do understand. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Put it out there. What I do understand is that you're trying, you're giving us graphs, you've given us numbers and things to look at. And I'm not trying to be a smart aleck or anything, but can we do the same thing with the fire department so that we can get behind and get these guys, you know, what they need in the fire department? When we see all that, we sort of feel like we're a part of it. We feel like we have some control or say over what's happening and where our money's going. And it just really spurs an energy in me to want to do more as a citizen. And I would just love to see the same type of analogies and things done for other departments that need our help and support.
Well, what you're talking about is transparency.
Yes.
And there's nobody in this room that can't understand the basic issues that I just presented. Now, you might have a question or two, and I'll be happy to try to answer them.
I'm
offline.
barely hanging in there.
But you know, we do this in our households every day. We all deal with these issues personally. Our own households, we deal with it with our parents, we deal with it with our siblings, our kids. These concepts are not alien. Money in, money out. I got bills, I need to have cash to pay them. So I use some accounting terms, and I want to say something I didn't say tonight. I have zero experience before January 1 with governmental accounting. It's a complex creature.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of experience in generally accepted accounting principles that businesses and industries use, and small businesses and large businesses. Governmental accounting is different. It's a different creature, and it's complex. But at the end of the day, it's money in, money out. Do you have enough money for payroll? Do we have enough money to pay Veolia, who manages our sewer plant? And we're upside down right now in our sewer plant.
And I'm not trying to chase a rabbit, but if we had presentations like that at the town hall meetings, the outcome might be different.
It could have been, and
And I know that was not the easiest thing to put together. I'm just.
Ms. Duffy, a while back you sent me an email and you asked me to start doing some things like this, and me and the council, and sorry that it's taken us a minute to get here. We've had problems with the river being high, tons of sinkholes, tons of infrastructure problems, and as you could see, some of those costs Mr. Buddy alluded to. But you asked us for this information, and we tried to not go over anyone's head with it. We tried to keep it simple and work as hard as we could, but I just want to let you know that you asked for something and we are listening. We are listening to what the community, whether you voted for me, didn't vote for me, we think that it's the right thing to do is to listen and show you where we truly are. This is hard for us to get up here and show you.
I can only
To show you where we are. It doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form to be this transparent. But unless you guys know what the truth really is, then we can develop solutions as a community.
And I think it does help you. I think it helps you get our support as citizens. So
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Madam Clerk, approval of the minutes.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on August 15th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the August council meeting of 2015?
Motion.
A motion by Councilman Jodeva. Of August 15th, 2019. Motion by Councilman Johnston.
Second.
Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Point of order.
Oh, shoot.
Mr. City Attorney, is this something we need to open public hearing for as well because it's so ministerial? It's just adding, okay. Very well.
Okay, all in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on August 15th.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Approved.
And communications. Reading of the minutes of the Board of Adjustments and Appeals on May 15th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for the Board of Adjustments and Appeals?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
And approval of the minutes of the Board of Adjustments and Appeals on May 15th.
I'd like to comment about that.
Yes, sir.
The minutes of May 15th make reference in case number 2 that the variance is approved subject to a stipulation. That stipulation is not attached to the minutes.
Okay,
So
would
the
you like to
minutes
make a
are
motion to
just
defer?
incomplete,
Yes,
and
sir.
so I'd like to defer it until appeals can provide.
Have a motion
that
on the floor by
stipulation.
Councilman Buddy. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Johnson to defer the Board of Adjustments Appeals meeting. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion is deferred. Minutes are deferred.
Reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board on August 14th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the Planning and Zoning Board of August 14,
Moved.
2019?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Approval of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board meeting on August 14th.
Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson,
Second.
second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Minutes are approved.
Reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board on September 4th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the Planning and Zoning meeting of September 4th? Motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Approval of the minutes of Planning and Zoning Board on September 4th.
Do I have a motion to approve of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting on September 4th, 2019?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, resolutions?
No resolutions.
No, we do, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2019-14. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Buddy. An ordinance to amend the City of Harahan Code of Ordinances to provide for the establishment of procedures, terms, and conditions managing the occupancy and use of public right-of-ways by providers of telecommunication services.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. Public hearing is now open. No one coming to speak on this matter. Public do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close.
Motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. Public hearing is now closed.
Move to
Council
defer,
discussion?
move to defer this ordinance until the October
We have a
meeting.
motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer ordinance 2019-14 to the October meeting.
Second.
Second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Motion is deferred. Ordinance is deferred, sorry.
All right, proposed ordinance number 2019-17. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman Buddy. An ordinance approving the re-subdivision of 131 Oakland Avenue, Lot 45A, Block 2, Markham Heights subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, made by Ronald Clement, dated April 5th, 2019.
Okay, do I have a motion to open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open. No one coming to speak forth on this ordinance. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Close.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
After the planning and zoning heard this and made this recommendation, we found out that there was a deficiency in one of the notice requirements. This is one of the cases where the date was changed for the meeting. New notices went out, new publication was made. However, the date on the sign at the property was not changed. So that's got to go back to planning and zoning again, so that they can make a recommendation based on the right notification requirements. So we're going to move to defer this to the October meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Yay, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is deferred.
Proposed ordinance number 2019-20. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Wheeler. An ordinance to amend the City of Harahan Code of Ordinances to provide for the protection and promotion of the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating and eliminating those nuisances which have a negative impact upon the quality of life, safety, and health of the neighborhoods where they are located.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Council Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open.
As you come up to speak, just be advised that this is going to be deferred until the Planning and Zoning Commission is
That's what I was
finished with
asking
it.
for. This
Yeah.
ordinance should be deferred because the Planning and Zoning Board put together a subcommittee to rewrite this ordinance, okay? That's what I'm asking for, is for it to be deferred. By the way, it's Judy Johnson, Oak Street.
Thank you.
I'd like to comment. I'm just curious, do we have a timeline? Do we know when that review might be complete?
So I will say that a committee was formed at the last meeting. However, that committee's got to be reformed because there were too many people on the committee.
Right.
So they would break the quorum requirements there for open meetings laws. So they're gonna put together a smaller subcommittee. I think. Yeah, come on in. Come on in. Oh, okay. So they're gonna put together a smaller subcommittee, and I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna defer this. That way we don't have to keep deferring it. I'm gonna defer it until the December meeting.
I don't
And-
think you can do that. I think you have to defer to
You
the
can defer
October.
it to a specific date.
You can? Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Positive.
All right. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Second.
So I'm gonna
Okay, so
defer this to the December 2019 meeting.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer ordinance 2019-22, the December council meeting, second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
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 5 yeas, 0 nays, deferred to the December meeting.
Proposed ordinance number 2019-21. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Johnston. An ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances regarding the regulation, permitting, and licensing the sale of fireworks within the city limits of Harahan and to provide for procedures therewith.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson,
Second.
second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open.
As you come up to speak on this ordinance, please be advised that I'm going to be withdrawing this ordinance.
Magine Cazenave, excuse me, 46 Oak Avenue. I'm opposed to this ordinance. Fireworks are not allowed to be used in Harahan, even though the police department generally ignores their uses. This ordinance would allow fireworks stands and the storage of fireworks next to our homes because most of the C2 property abuts R1 zone property. There are no safety regulations cited in the ordinance, nor is the state safe storage of fireworks required. Mr. Asbill says it must be stored behind a site-obscuring fence. We've seen the devastation that happens when fireworks explodes unexpectedly. Can you guarantee that an explosion will not happen or that our unmanned fire department could handle it? No, you can't. Do not pass this ordinance.
Ms. Magine, I'm sorry, excuse me, Ms. Davis, Duffy Davis, I don't know if I got the order right there. I will say that as far as the safety requirements, the state, I'm withdrawing this, but it was referenced in here, the state code, which covers all the safety requirements that you're speaking about. So it is included by reference to the state statute. And I can give you that statute. It's RS 51:651 in sequence.
Thank you.
Tommy Duffy, Davis Duffy, or Davis Shedd. So you're withdrawing, so that means it's off the table?
Yes, ma'am.
So there's no big deal?
That's right.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I just want to thank Ms. Magine for representing a lot of the citizens in Harahan and speaking clearly and showing up for meetings, to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Judy Johnson, Oak Street. You stole my thunder, Mr. Asbill. I'm glad you're withdrawing this, but may I make a recommendation that when next time you write an ordinance, you read the state law before you write it?
I did, and this ordinance will be coming back to you in a few months. So,
Well, then
hold
I'll
on to
read
that
what I
thunder.
wrote.
Hold on to that thunder.
I'll just read this to now, and you can take it for whatever it's worth. Even though the shooting of fireworks is against the law in Harahan and the fire department is undermanned with out-of-date equipment by your own admission, you're considering adopting this ordinance to sell fireworks in Harahan. After some initial research, I realized that Mr. Asbill copied the Gretna ordinance almost verbatim. However, he did not read the state ordinance concerning the selling of fireworks. At the last meeting, a representative from the State Fire Marshal's office spoke and answered some questions. I called her office the next day to clarify some of the things she said. I was referred to the state revised statutes, which I researched and learned this. You included a reference to 51-651 state statute, but should have also included references to the following: 51-650, 651-1, 652, 653, 654, 655, 659, and 660. These statutes not only include the allowable fireworks, but that state which are not allowed and give safety regulations that need to be implemented. None of that's in your ordinance. I also learned that to sell fireworks, you must have a state license. However, the application must be submitted before June 1st, and the seller must prove that facilities comply with all applicable provisions of the Life Safety Code and all standards adopted by the State Fire Marshal, a fact that is also omitted. There are restrictions concerning the issuance of the state license that are not found in Mr. Asbill's ordinance. A state retailer's permit costs $100, and revised statutes 51-659 says that the governing authority of a municipality cannot charge fees in excess of the fees authorized by the State Fire Marshal. Gretna was grandfathered in because their law was passed before January 1st, 1984, when the state law was adopted. This means we cannot charge more than the state charges for licenses, which is $100. So 4 stands would only bring in $400 in license fees, a far cry from the $25,000 minimum Mr. Asbill put in his minimum bid in his written ordinance. Mr. Asbill did not include any safety regulations in this ordinance as required by state law, nor has he dedicated the money to the fire department. It says it's going to be, the fire department will receive some of it. It didn't say that they're going to get it all. So the aggravation of 4 fireworks stands is it worth the license fees of $400? Also, the city is in no position to monitor the cash sales in each booth. So we would have no way to know if the correct amount of sales tax comes back to the city, since the parish does not delineate the amount of sales tax nor attribute it to a certain seller. I urge the board to not ever adopt this ordinance. It will only create a nuisance for our residents, as well as a very clear and present danger to all of us.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. If
Okay, anyone else coming to speak forth on this ordinance? No one coming else for public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
Ms. Johnson, if you look at line, if you have the ordinance in front of you, look at line 109 and 110. It says any fireworks retailer must comply with all relevant state laws, specifically Louisiana RS 51, 650, and sequence. That means all of those laws within that chapter they have to follow. That includes all of the safety. So to go up there and say that's not included in here is just false. It's wrong. Secondly, the reason I withdrew this ordinance is because I also talked to the lady at the State Fire Marshal Office, and she said that there is a workaround regarding the fees collected. And so it's going to take a little bit of creative wordsmithing to get that correct. That's why it's being withdrawn and will be brought forward in a few months.
So 2 things in Ms. Judy's rebuttal that kind of stuck out to me. One is that members of this community and this council and my staff are busting butt to get this fire department back up to where it could be the best fire department Harahan's ever seen. So if you want to be a part of that group, you can come on over to my office and call the fire chief and help us get all we bet, because we want to be the city of yes. Well, I'm tired of hearing, no, we can't do this, and no, we can't do that. Well, come on, be a part of the city of yes, and help us get there like these ladies for a better Harahan did, raising this money to get this air equipment.
Any other discussion?
I look forward to seeing this ordinance come back, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please withdraw the ordinance from consideration.
What's wrong with you?
All right, proposed ordinance number 2019-22. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Wheeler. An ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances by the addition of Chapter 19, Harahan Regulatory Court, and related regulations and bylaws.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Public hearing is now open.
Excuse me, Ms. Beijing. As you come up to speak, please be advised that this is also still with the Planning and Zoning Committee, and that we're going to be deferring it as well until the December 2019 meeting. But please speak.
Majin Casnay, 46 Oak Avenue. The city needs a regulatory court like it needs another set of attorney fees to pay. The city has a magistrate and a prosecutor that could handle these cases. If necessary, an additional court night could be set aside for regulatory cases. There is no need for a separate hearing officer. That is the city attorney's job. The city already has a nuisance section in our ordinance, even though it has not been enforced by the regulatory department. Setting up another department to hear these cases is putting the cart before the horse. Enforce what is now on the books and bring the violators to court only if necessary.
Okay, anyone else coming to speak on this ordinance? No one else coming to speak. Public hearing is now closed. All right, I would like to make some comments on this. I 100% disagree with Ms. Majin. This city absolutely needs a regulatory court. We are now in a situation where we're going out and we're finding blighted property and We're really struggling with it because we have we can write citations all day, but until we bring these people to court and actually impose those fines in a court setting, there's really, we're hamstrung here, and we need to be able to bring this court back into place. And furthermore, if the magistrate for traffic court sat in for regulatory court, they get paid per court, not per month. And I'm correct on that. And so bringing in a separate judge is no more cost to this city. But I got to tell you, as I look around this city, I believe it's the worst I've ever seen it. I believe that we've had no code enforcement in place for years now, and I got to tell you something, and this is a warning to everyone whose property is blighted and every person that's junk store and junk, we're coming. And we will enforce the law to the T, friend or foe, it does not matter. Clean your place up, please. Thank you.
I'd like to comment also. I agree with the mayor wholeheartedly that we have a lot of blighted properties in an otherwise wonderful community. And we all suffer. Some people who happen to live next door to these blighted properties or across the street are suffering, and they should not. And I understand that this, again, this also is going to be looked at by the subcommittee, but I think we have an urgent need for it. So I'm going to propose that we pass this tonight and then amend it as may be necessary, because I'd like to see our our regulatory court get up and running. And if that's not possible and there's a good reason not to do it, I'm all ears.
I don't believe planning and zoning has given their recommendation yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Right, Mr. Minio? Okay.
So I know that they, that I guess the committee chairman has done some work on it. I don't know what that work is, and so I don't want to undercut that work and go ahead and pass it tonight.
But so the process, and Ms. Wheeler, Councilman Wheeler, thank you, you're 100% correct, so it can't happen tonight. But if the process works, that subcommittee is going to go back, it's going to be put back on planning and zoning.
Correct.
And then it's going to come to us.
That's correct.
We're months out, and
Sure.
we need this yesterday.
Yes, sir.
I've gotten
Absolutely.
two emails in the last couple of days for issues. If it were next door to me, I'd be at the front desk of City Hall beating on the counter
Absolutely.
every day.
Absolutely.
This is urgent. So if there's a method where planning and zoning can recommend against until you complete your review, I'm fine with that. I'd like to get it on the next planning and zoning board agenda to recommend, and you can recommend that you need more time. And I'm sitting here telling you I want to hear what your subcommittee, the planning and zoning subcommittee, has to say. And I have a couple of paragraphs in here that I would want to change to clarify a couple. It's only a couple, Mike. I know, but I only have a couple. But I think we should do something sooner rather than later. Then if cleanup's necessary, let's do it, because it is a workable document. And until we get moving on this, the blight is just going to get worse. And I feel for the people who are reaching out to me complaining. I've driven by these blighted properties. They're terrible. They shouldn't exist in our community.
We have residents that have junkyards in their front yard. Junkyards.
You have residents who have junkyards in their backyard that
Yeah.
you can't even see unless you live directly next door to them.
And now you're rat infested.
So we receive letters from numerous citizens. We go out, we write citations, we drop them off on the people's doors. They cut their front yard. I mean, that's like changing your clothes without taking a shower, you know? So you cut your front yard, it looks good. But all you can do is stand back and look down the alley. You know, you got residents, they catching, in a month's time, they catch 6 or 7 possums in their backyard. And you just look over the fence and it's disgusting, you know? And it's beyond the front yard issues. And then we do have some people, we call them and they clean it up. It's not our job to call them every month and say, cut your grass, cut your grass. You know, I'm finished with that. I did that when my kids were 6 years old. You know, brush your teeth. No, they're old enough now, they know to brush their teeth. You know, and I just can't understand how a citizen who spends a lot of money on their houses, and it's nice houses, spend all this money on their house and they just let it run down like that. So without a doubt, we need regulatory court ASAP.
Okay, I'd like to may take a point of personal privilege. This board and this mayor 100% endorses our planning and zoning committee and chairman, and we value your opinions. You guys are moving in the right direction. They've stepped up to the plate to take classes and get certified in everything they do. So we want to know we value you, and I'd like to have the chairman, Mike Amedio, come up, just say one thing.
But hurry up.
Yeah, hurry up.
Yeah, sorry, this won't take too long. But thank you, Mayor, Council. Also, as chair, and I know Vice Chair Dale Velez feels the same way, is that thank you for giving us the tools we need to get the right people on the board that are getting more and more involved, and we appreciate it. And we're currently working with the subcommittee in getting things in the right order. And I do want to point out something else, and we have a lot of support on this issue with the nuisance, but we want to get rid of some of the unneeded jargon. You know, we have an attorney on the board and everything, so we are trying to clean it up as best as possible. And I hear the same things about the blight and the complaints. And another thing that I want to bring up that our board is working on is making sure if you do have blight or you considered blighted property, we are working to make sure that if it's that way because you might need assistance, you know, like, hey, maybe, you know, you're 90
Yes,
years
sir.
old, you don't own a lawnmower, you couldn't push a lawnmower if you did. You know, we're trying to figure out some kind of a system to, you know, that we can put in place to where we're not preying on people who don't have the ability to get it from blighted
Excellent.
to, you know,
Excellent.
being
Very
back on
forward
par.
thinking.
So there are more so than this being considered. I don't want anybody to think that this is like a predatory somewhat, or, you know, ordinance or anything like that. We're trying to fix it, you know, by all means necessary. You know what I mean?
Working
So,
together?
Yeah, working together.
Team
Everything's great.
Harahan, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Team
That's right. I
Harahan.
love it. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, sir. Sure.
I volunteered my time a long time ago, all my life in this city. If you really want to help the elderly who need help cutting their grass and everything, why not have a Better Harahan form a committee? Kids need service hours for high school,
Great idea.
okay? Form a committee to get the teenagers to sign up to do this.
Yes, great idea.
Okay?
You're right, because the service hour program from Catholic school kids, which most of our children are, you know, are neat, man, that is an incredible idea.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's a great idea, and I'm going to nominate Miss Judy to be in charge of that.
That is a
Okay,
good
Madam
idea.
Clerk?
Thank you,
And
Ms.
then-
Judy.
Yeah.
Did we close the,
Oh,
move to close the public hearing?
yeah, that was point of, point
Yeah.
of personal privilege. All right,
Okay.
council discussion, go ahead.
Roger that.
Defer. Motion.
All right, move to defer October meeting.
Second. December meeting,
Motion
right?
by,
Oh, October?
motion by
Okay.
Councilman
October.
Asbill,
All right,
second by
second.
Councilman
There
Johnson
you
to
go.
defer to the October meeting.
October
All in
meeting.
favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance is deferred.
No.
You can keep the nuisance
We're gonna
to
keep that in December. We're just gonna
Yeah.
do regulatory October.
Proposed ordinance number 2019-23. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman. Who would like the re-subdivision for 16, Asbill? An ordinance approving the re-subdivision of 6915 Jefferson Highway, lots D1A, B4, B5, and B6, Tract C, Stonyat Plantation Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, made by Gilbert Kelly and Couture, dated May 16, 2017.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open. No one coming to speak forth on this ordinance. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson,
Second.
second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion.
This hasn't been brought up planning and zoning yet because they had a notice problem? Move to defer.
Second.
No.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Technically, this didn't even have to be advertised. This could be done administratively. You're just taking several parcels, I think it's 4 if I'm not mistaken, and converting it to one. 1, 2, 3. So honestly, Mr. Medio, it probably never should even have been brought to planning and zoning. I think the applicant just wanted to let the public know. He elected to pay for the advertisement on his own expense, but it does not need to go before y'all. So on your October agenda, only the rezoning will be there, the resub will not. Because this should have been done administratively. It never should have been brought to planning and zoning.
for so many reasons. Okay, do you want to do, you want to
Let's
draw?
call
it?
for the vote.
Oh, you want to call for
I
it?
mean,
You want to draw? it?
I don't,
I mean, there
Mr.
has to be an ordinance
Stansberry.
at some point.
Okay, so call for the
So,
vote then.
wait, wait.
What-
So,
but-
Mr. Stansberry, let me ask you this question. This was originally brought to us because the applicant wanted to advertise it, I think, just to put the abutting property owners on notice. He didn't have to. This is strictly, you know, conforming. It could be administrative. It didn't have to go before planning and zoning. It didn't even technically need to be advertised. He wanted it advertised, and ordinance was prepared. So my question is, I mean, there's probably another ordinance, maybe this one, that will go before the mayor to sign. Does the council even need to, does it even hurt to do it, or should we just withdraw it and just, because it's not gonna come back to us anyway, if it's done administratively. You see?
Councilman, as the city attorney is considering that,
Yes, sir.
this issue was raised previously. We're taking a smaller residential lots and making it into one larger residential lot?
It's three standard lots that they're converting into one lot of record.
And I hope what you're saying is correct, but I haven't seen where that is allowed administratively.
It is. As long as the lots are conforming, which these
As long as
are,
it's
it's
not
not,
more than 6 lots and it's not more than an acre.
yeah.
Okay,
You know,
thank you.
And this all complies, so honestly, this never really should have came to us, but I just wanted to let it know that the applicant just wanted to be, since we're on the term of
After
transparent
what he had been
here,
put through for the past year and a half.
and at his expense, just wanted to put all the owners on notice. Technically, he didn't have to, just letting him know that he's taking this parcel and making it one lot of record. So he chose at his expense to do that.
I don't think if he chose at his expense to do it, I think we put
Well,
on it.
I think he just wanted to do in light of maybe any,
I think he chose.
So
to do
you're
it
just
at his
gonna
expense.
withdraw it and do
I
it,
just-
and do it administratively? Just
I think-
withdraw
think-
it?
I think you withdraw it.
Withdraw it and
I
do it
think so.
That
administratively?
recommendation, all that in here. so.
all right, so I'll make a motion to withdraw this ordinance.
All
All right.
motion on the floor to withdraw
Just withdraw,
proposed
yeah,
ordinance
I don't have to make a
219,
motion.
2018.
She just withdraws
I'm
it.
sorry,
withdraw.
Councilman Wheeler withdraws. What's your ordinance? I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, Councilman Wheeler, mess me up.
This is the one.
This is what we have to do. Okay.
Okay. So the problem is that
This is the rezoning.
got it. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2019-24. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman
Asbill.
Asbell.
Okay. Do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Read-
Motion by
Wait, I
Councilman
gotta read
Johnson,
the
second by
title.
Councilman.
I should read the
Yeah,
title
read
real
first.
quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
An ordinance approving the rezoning of 6915 Jefferson Highway, Lot B1A, Tract C, Sonia Plantation Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, made by Gilbert, Kelly, and Katori, dated May 16, 2017.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by
Second.
Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open. Ms. Majine.
Majine Casnay, 46 Oak Avenue, Harahan, Louisiana. The ordinance y'all were just talking about, the man wanted to re-subdivide his property on number 23.
Yes, ma'am.
That we just discussed. Now, this is in reference to 24.
Correct.
Yes.
Now he wants to rezone that same piece of
Correct.
property.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Okay. I'm against this ordinance because creating more commercial property when there is so much empty commercial property already in the city is ridiculous, especially since the zoning board has not heard this case nor has made a recommendation yet. This particular piece of commercial would be encroaching on this residential neighborhood. This request is supposedly for an office building. The last request he wanted was for a restaurant. If it is zoned commercial, anything that is allowed in a commercial zoning district can be put on his property. Will the servitude that runs through the middle of the property be preserved? And will the beautiful oaks trees be removed? This house has been there for many, many years, and most of the residents have also been there for years and love their neighborhood. How do you justify ruining their neighborhood by allowing a commercial building to encroach on their street?
Anyone else come to speak on this ordinance? No one else come to speak? Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
So we're gonna make a motion to defer this. This again needs to go before the Planning and Zoning Board, to be held October 2nd, heard October 2nd. So we'll defer it to the October meeting.
Okay. Second, motion to defer by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. 2019-24 is deferred to the October meeting. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2019-25. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman
I'll take it.
Johnston. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 1772 to sell property owned by the city of Harahan, providing for the procedure to be utilized pursuant to the provisions of LRS 334712, which provides for the sale, exchange, or lease of property by a municipality.
Okay, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open.
One more time. Judy Johnson, Oak Street. This is, at the last council meeting, this ordinance was read by title only, so no one could know which property the city was about to sell. The agenda was put up on the website Tuesday around 4 o'clock, but was not advertised in the Advocate. So I finally got to read the ordinance on Tuesday after City Hall closed to find out that the city wants to sell 7th Street between Hickory and Dickory for $50,000. They state the city does not need the street anymore. However, some of the streets between Hickory and Dickory are supposed to be used as a through street when Dickory is continued to Jefferson Highway. Do we know which streets will be used? I don't. I didn't, so I called the Jefferson Parish Department of Streets and was referred to traffic engineering, who referred me to DOTD, who referred me to a Mr. Scott Boyle. Mr. Boyle was very helpful. He found the plans for the continuation of Dickory. It is state project number H004359. And Dickory, when finished, will be State Highway 3154. However, the plans are not funded. It seems our state rep has let this project fall through the cracks. Also, the cut-throughs were not designated on the plans. Then Mr. Boyle said they are subject to change. So how can the city sell 7th Street when it may be designated as a cut-through from Hickory to Dickory? I would urge the council to do a little investigative work before deciding what to do with this city property.
Anyone else coming to speak forth on this ordinance? No one else coming to speak? Public hearing is now, do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Buddy. Public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
I have two comments. Ms. Judy, I don't think the state representative let this fall through the cracks. I believe our delegation, our Jefferson Parish delegation, more inclusive than our Harahan state rep, has been pushing for this project. If you think it's fallen through the crack, it's because the governor decides priority ranking of state projects. So if you've got a complaint about it, Ms. Judy, call Governor John Bell Edwards. I mean, you have a valid point that the state has put this low on the list, but direct your accusations and your complaint to the proper party, please.
Excuse me, but this plan has been in effect
Yeah,
since the 70s.
you are correct, ma'am. You are correct,
Okay,
ma'am.
so
There's
we
about,
have-
there's about $14 billion of unfunded state projects on the books. So if you can get the governor, John Bell, to push it to the top of the list, I will applaud you from here to the moon and back.
Council, can I have a point?
Yes, point of personal privilege for the
Yeah.
representative.
I'm sorry.
Representative Talbot?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're right. The governor has the sole authority to set the bond agenda. So you can have things funded in the capital outlay process all day long, and you can tout them and say that they're, that anything's been funded. But the bottom line is, if it doesn't get approved in the bond commission, it doesn't happen. I mean, we have a backlog of hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, of projects all over the state. And Councilman Buddy's right. I mean, the governor's office sets the bond agenda. If you're not on the agenda, you don't get funded. But there's, they try to prioritize best they can. I mean, there's drainage projects, there's infrastructure projects, all over the state that are waiting to get funded as well. So you're right. It's not something that we let fall through the cracks. It's just There's a huge backlog, and, you know, the governor decides what gets funded, what doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. Buddy, your second point, I think. you
All
had-
right, so as I...
My
Sorry,
second
I'm sorry.
point is that I apologize, but I haven't had an opportunity to read LRS 33:4712, and I have one specific question. What is the mechanism or the procedure by which this property will be sold? And I'm not sure if it's covered in LRS 33:4712.
Okay, so you want to go, you want
So
to hit
you're
that
talking
one
about the
first?
procedure. So this property was originally owned by the parish. The parish did a donation, if I'm not mistaken, to
Yes,
the
ma'am.
city, I believe, in 17, because I think the city originally thought that they had owned it all of this time. And the entity that it's interested in purchasing, and I believe, has been maintaining it themselves. So I had reached out to the parish after we did a title search on it, realized that the parish had owned it. They did whatever they needed to do. There was a resolution passed toward the city. The city has the resolution that was adopted by the parish that it's the city's sole discretion to do with as they see fit. They have the right to sell it, rent it, lease it, whatever they may do. So all we're bringing forth, if you see, this was originally an ordinance that was adopted back in 2014, when I believe it's the same person that's wanting to purchase it now is the one that wanted to purchase it almost 5 years ago. So all we're doing is amending this because they're actually paying more for the property than what was instilled 5 years ago.
And so the specific question is that person just come in and enter into a purchase agreement?
Correct. So what the first thing we have to do, I spoke to the parish. The understanding is, we have to do an ordinance to, allow the city to do it.
Right.
I have been in contact with the owner of the property. Once everything is adopted and, it gets signed and everything, they will attend a closing. It will be a non-warranted sale. The city has no liabilities. It's a whole harmless indemnification. All of the liability falls on the purchaser. The purchaser is aware of that. We will finalize a few things. They will go to a closing, and the proceeds will be provided to the city.
And I guess, all of that information, Councilman Will, was very helpful, but there's no requirement that the city advertise this as there were, say, with unused vehicles. We went through a public auction. There's no type of...
When I spoke to the representative of the parish, they did not say that to me. I just said, hey, we have this piece of property. I didn't even realize after doing some research that this was already adopted 5 years ago. We started putting together an ordinance, and I'm reading the ordinance, and I'm like, wait, this has already been done. So,
Well, I'm happy
I guess if they
to
wanna
sell the
ask the
property.
attorney.
It's surplus property, and the city desperately needs every dollar we can get. And I would just recommend maybe to the city attorney, to the mayor, just to make sure when we do it, we're doing it in compliance with state law. What is the mechanism that the city uses to sell surplus property?
and all we're doing, this ordinance is just amending the value of what it's at.
The minimum value.
Correct. No less than, correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And I say, I applaud
So
the
that's all
effort.
this is doing, is just giving the city to sell it if they choose to do so for no less than this amount of dollars.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
So as the mayor's office goes, the city owns several pieces of property. Well, the city is not in the property ownership business. Not only does it hurt us in two ways: one, that property can be put back into commerce or put in added to someone else's property and increase the value of their property. But number two is we don't have to have an employee to actually go out and maintain that property. Well, even in a third one, we can sell this property and contribute this money to our fire department and our sewer fund. And I know it's just it's a creative way for the city to generate funds without putting even further tax burden on the citizens. And I think this is just this administration's ability and reach to try to become fiscally more responsible to its
And
citizens.
Mr. Buddy, there's some more ordinances that'll be coming forth with the same thing. There were some right-of-ways that the city has been owning for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
We have some people that are actually interested in purchasing them.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll see some more of these come forth again. Again, this is just an ordinance that the council's giving the approval for it to pass, or to
And
be
again, I
sold.
applaud the efforts, your personal time that you put
Oh,
into
no
this,
problem.
Councilman Wheeler, and
Yes.
the mayor's efforts to turn over every stone and find every dollar that we can and put it to better use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, but Miss Judy's concerned about the street coming through. If we own the property and we sell it, I mean, obviously the street can't go through there anymore. I'm guessing, I mean,
I'm gonna go.
my concern's a little like you, but I mean, obviously the street can't go through there anymore. 7th Street, which is the street I believe we're talking about, it goes through the Hickory and then one more block. I don't know. I mean, I heard rumors it was going to be even streets, but I mean, like I said, nothing's been set in stone on what's gonna be, go through or not, but,
I mean,
like I said,
You know,
basically,
to
if
me,
we
to
sell
me,
it-
to me, this is a positive. It'll, if we sell this and it belongs to somebody else, that can't be a through street,
Correct.
and it won't put traffic in the neighborhoods when Dickory.
Well, the
whenever.
reality is, the Department of Transportation has allowed very restricted through streets. You know, when they were building Pump to the River, we were all detoured 2 or 3 miles to get home from Metairie until, I believe it was Mayor Moscar in office at the time, put a cut-through there
By the Lions.
by the Lions Club. And that took, it either took an act of Congress
Elton
or a
John
wink
Stone.
and a blink.
Johnston.
Elton
Uh,
John.
Oh, Elton.
Thank
yes.
you. But, so I think we don't need to worry about the number of cut-throughs in the Dickory in the Hickory, or between Dickory and Hickory, because the Department of Transportation is not gonna want them.
Or the state better come on, because I'm going to sell them all.
Attaboy.
Call for vote.
All right, all in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, ordinance passes. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances for introduction. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance approving the re-subdivision of lots 3 and 6 Colonial Center and Lot A2B, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, and the creation of drainage, sewer, utility, and other servitudes, all pursuant to a plan made by Ronald Clement dated July 24th, 2019. Proposed ordinance number 2019-27. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance approving the rezoning of lots 1 through 8 Colonial Place, Phase 1, and portion of A2B 1, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, as per plan made by Ronald Clement, dated July 24, 2019, and further approving the rezoning of a portion of Lot 6A, Colonial Center, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, as per plan made by Ronald Clement, dated July 24, 2019. And proposed ordinance number 2019-28. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman
Take it.
Chatelain.
I don't even have that one.
Well, it's an ordinance to rename Hebe Lane between Oak Avenue and Elodie Avenue to Pontiff Lane. The problem with this ordinance, the title of this ordinance is, Hebe Lane is in between Oak and Elodie. It goes from Elodie to the
Dead end.
dead end, yeah. So the title's,
So we'll re-advertise
Yeah,
it,
just
put
take
it
it,
back
just
up.
just remove it and re-advertise it.
We'll re-advertise it, put it up next week, next month.
You got it. Okay.
you want a motion that? Why not?
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
You wanna make a
Buddy?
I'm making a motion to move this.
Oh,
Go ahead, make a motion.
And seconded by Buddy.
Okay.
He said.
What are we doing?
To reword and put it back up next
No,
meeting.
but Hebe.
Oh, okay. So you just withdrawing it, basically?
Yes.
Withdraw, put it
But
back up.
nobody's,
Nobody
oh,
really.
you did. Chatelain sponsored it.
I sponsored it, but we'll just put it back up.
Yeah, he put it up in
It's
there.
first reading, yeah.
for
Yeah,
first.
just withdraw.
Okay, got it. Go ahead. You gonna make a motion?
Make a motion to withdraw it and just put
Okay,
it back
got
up
it.
next month.
Perfect.
Second?
He seconded it.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Chatelain, withdraw, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Proposed ordinance 2019-28 is withdrawn. Madam Clerk?
And no old business. New business number 1, 2019 financial statements.
I'll be brief. Just wanted to give the council and the public an update on the 2019 financial statements that the Finance Office has provided. Interim, internal 2019 statements to the council, to the police chief, and the mayor for their review. We're working to schedule meetings with the council members and the mayor and the police chief to answer any questions they may have, as well as working to schedule a public meeting in October for the budget amendment process and to review the financial statements in more detail. So just wanted to provide that update to the council and to the mayor.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I have a comment and a question. Thank you, Todd. And I know it's been, a long, tough 9 months to get us here. But can you comment about the frequency you expect to have these reports out going forward?
Sure. So the goal should be to provide financial statements on a monthly basis to the council, to the mayor for review. And we'll meet that goal before the end of this year.
Wonderful, thank you. And of course, for the public also.
And on that note, I would actually like to call for a special meeting to discuss the budget on Tuesday, October 8th at 5:30.
Second.
All
Second.
right, Tuesday,
Wait, wait,
October.
wait. Eric, you gonna check?
Second.
Mr. Buddy, at that point, the numbers that we have here are good through June. After speaking with Mr. Turnion, we will actually have numbers good through August for the October meeting. It'll be another month.
And that's my
And he said it'll be
understanding.
a hard close.
Yes.
So,
Oh, I got you.
okay, Eric's checking. Chief, does that work for you? And Chief,
Second.
that works for you?
Second.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay.
October 8th,
Tuesday, October 8th at
October
5:30. I mean, we can adjust the time too. I just,
5:30 is fine. I got to be out of here for 7:30 though.
Oh, we get that.
all right,
Yeah.
let's, yeah.
Second.
Second? All right. So we're gonna waive notice, Madam Clerk?
One moment, let me
yes.
check. I
Oh.
think I'm good, but I want to check. That's October 8th?
8th.
October 8th, Tuesday, October 8th at 5:30.
That's for budget discussion, right?
I think you had responded saying
Yeah,
you thought it was
yeah.
okay.
Yes, that works.
Okay,
Second.
Thank you.
all right.
Okay, so,
Second?
Second.
all right, so we have a
Second.
motion by Councilman Wheeler to schedule budget hearings October 8th at 5:30.
Does that 5:30 work for everybody?
Wonderful.
Second.
Second right there.
Second by Councilman Asbill, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay,
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Budget hearing will be October 8th at 5:30. Okay,
Having too much fun.
Asbill? Huh?
Having too much fun.
Yeah, no, Councilman Asbill, do you want to add something to new business?
He did, number 4.
All right, you
Or
ready?
number 2.
All right, number 2. The Greater New Orleans Rosary Congress is requesting a police escort and barricades for their upcoming Rosary procession on Saturday, October 5th from 2:30 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. and on October 10th from 8:30 p.m. until 9:30 p.m.
Do I have a motion to grant permission?
All good, Chief?
Don't we have to open it for here?
Yep, got to open that for public hearing.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. All right, do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Moved.
All right, motion by Councilman Asbill, second by?
Second.
By Councilman Wheeler, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Public hearing is now open. All right, no one coming to speak forth on this party, Rosary? We're gonna
Chief,
we're gonna make a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by?
Second.
Second by Councilman Buddy, all in favor?
Yay.
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 5
Oh.
yeas, 0 nays. Councilman Johnson,
All
you got
good,
something?
Chief? All good? All good?
Yeah, we're getting the
we-
thumbs
we-
up back there.
They were here 2 years ago, and we worked it then, we're ready to work it again. It's covered.
Chief, what locations will they be?
Start in front of church, and they go, one of them goes around 1 block, and one I think goes 2 blocks in the
So-
back.
Right on
Down
Raven,
Ray-Ban-
right
down
on
Ray-Ban.
Raven,
To O'Neill.
right on
Yeah,
O'Neill,
in the letter.
O'Neill and back up Imperial Wood.
Yeah.
then back to the church.
Thank you.
Are you good, Councilman Johnson?
good. I'm
Right.
good.
Thank you, Chief. All right, do I have a motion to grant permission?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Permission is granted.
All right, new business number 3. The Harahan Police Department's requesting permission to block Berg Street for the annual Night Out Against Crime at St. Rita School on Tuesday, October 15th from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m.
Councilman Johnson, you want to ask your question again?
I'm good.
Are you
I'm
good on this
I'm
one?
good
All
on
right.
this.
Do I have a motion to grant permission?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Buddy.
Second.
All-
Move to open the
Oh, Lord,
public
I'm
hearing.
sorry. Lord have mercy. Do I have a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. No one coming to speak forth on it. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to grant permission?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman
Second.
Johnson, second by?
Yes, yeah.
Second by?
Second.
Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Permission is granted. Do I have a motion to address the council?
Negative. Negative. We got new business number 4.
Oh, we got new business number 4. I'm sorry. Captain, amend the
Yeah,
agenda.
new business number 4,
Let's go.
Planning and Zoning Board nomination.
Oh, the, yeah, that's right.
So we've got one opening on the Planning and Zoning Board. I'd like to make a nomination and nominate Maurizio Francescon to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to nominate Maurizio Fabulous Francesco over there for the Planning and Zoning Board.
Second.
Move to open,
Second by Councilman
move to open the
Johnson.
public hearing, move to open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you have a motion to open public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Need 5 yeas, 0 nays. No one's coming to speak. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion.
Motion to close.
Wait, do you
Oh.
want to speak?
No. Yeah, he's got it. I thought I have a motion to close public
Motion.
hearing. Motion by Councilman Johnson.
He can
Oh,
come
sweet.
up during our discussion.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Come on.
I had briefly heard about, Mike Amedio, Planning and Zoning Chairman, but I don't know if y'all can hear me over the mayor's suit right now. Sorry about that.
Don't hate.
Burn. So, anyway, I'm sorry. I meant to say that last time. I'm sorry, Monica.
I did it just for you, baby.
But anyway, no, I had briefly heard about Maurizio, and what I will say is that I noticed, I think it was like for the election cycle, I think that, he was in support of different candidates than what maybe sitting up here. But what I did pay attention to is, since y'all have been in office, I see, Maurizio even though he might not see eye to eye on everything, I see him being extremely civil. So I support this nomination for what it's worth, so.
Great. Thank you.
Me too, Mike. Let me tell you, he's been in my office. We've talked, and he was not with me, but we've talked, we've seen eye to eye, and he still may not be with me, but that's not what we're really here for. We're here now as a community, and that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna work for it as a community, and maybe his ideas may be way better than mine.
If
You know?
that suit was his idea, I'm sorry.
I do know Maurizio did dunk you in the dunk.
That's right, that's right.
Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Okay, so we have a motion to nominate
Oh, we have to
Maurizio.
close public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, motion. to close
Motion.
public- Motion by
Motion.
Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Wheeler, all in favor?
Yeah.
Public hearing is now closed. All right, nomination, do we have a vote?
Second. Second.
Oh, y'all wanna discuss it?
No, no.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Wait,
Move-
you
move-
want to discuss?
He motioned, I
Wait,
second.
he wants to.
Wait,
Is there any
Then we
council
gotta
discussion?
discuss.
No council discussion?
I do have a discussion.
Oh, sweet
Okay.
Lord.
Come on, man, you throwing you off, man. Throwing you off.
I've been knowing Maurizio for a very long time. I think he's very vocal. I think he'll express his feelings. I think he'll stand up for what's right. And I think he will stand up to the people who think something's right and he thinks it's wrong. I think he'd be an honor to have on this board, and I support it.
Beautiful.
So do I have a motion
I've-
to oh my Lord.
I already did that.
I haven't known Maurizio for a very long time. I don't know him really well, and maybe I particularly don't even really like him. But the nomination comes. The nomination comes in spite of that, because I think we need some diversity on the board, and diversity of opinions is one of those things that we need to look for. And I think that's what he brings. He'll benefit the board in that way.
Anybody else?
Nope.
No, let's call for the vote.
Move for the vote.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion, do I have a,
We already got a
all in
motion. and a
favor?
second. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Welcome, Maurizio.
Good luck, P and Z.
Move to open address to council.
Yeah, address the council.
Second.
Okay, address the council is now open.
Scott's like,
Wait, do we
Thank you. He's like, holy sweet Lord.
3 hours
Hey.
later.
Well, good evening. Good evening. My name is Scott Schlegel. I'm a judge here in Jefferson Parish, and as most of you all know, I was born and raised here in Harahan. I'm running for the Louisiana Supreme Court because I have a vision for the future of our courts. As a former prosecutor here in Jefferson Parish, I handled over 1,000 criminal cases, almost 20 life sentences as a prosecutor. So I've tried a lot of murderers, a lot of sex offenders. And you know what you see when you do that day in and day out? A broken justice system. And so in May of 2013, I was elected judge here in Jefferson Parish because I decided that I was not okay with the status quo. I decided to quit my job, take out a major medical, cash out an IRA while my wife was in school, my son was in school, to run for judge because I wanted to make a difference in my community. And that's what I've done as a judge since 2013. I always like to tell everybody, look, do your job as a judge and do it well. Read, be prepared, be on time. Do not legislate from the bench, and give reasons for your rulings. And I've done that very well. As a judge here in Jefferson Parish, I've handled everything from a possession marijuana to murder. On the civil side, I handle car accidents and corporate complex litigation worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I also handle child custody and divorce matters. Now what? Now how about I use the platform that I've been given to affect real change in our community? So from a criminal justice perspective, I've started the Smart on Crime initiative because regardless of what you believe in sentencing, 95% of everybody that we put in jail will come home. And you know what the recidivism rate here in the state of Louisiana over 5 years is? 43.6%. And you know what that means, right? New victim, new victim, new victim. And a DOC budget almost $700 million a year. And my wife and I know a thing or two about being the victims of a violent crime. We've been married 20 years. And 2 weeks after we were married, somebody broke into our kitchen window. And I didn't wake up until he was crawling next to my bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I actually had to physically grab this guy and get him away from my wife and get him into the front room, away from her, and hold him down until the police arrived. So I understand what a broken justice system looks like from a criminal perspective. On the civil side, I started out my career as a financial advisor who went to law school at night. And that was when the market went south for 10 years straight. Everybody remember that, right? So my wife looks at me and says, "You're going to law school." So I went to law school at night at Loyola, graduated with honors, and started my career in the civil legal system, defending automobile manufacturers and heavy equipment manufacturers during accidents. And you know what I learned from that? We don't treat the business side of what we do very well. So when I took the bench, I said, I'm going to change that as well. And I'm going to modernize our system of justice. Do you run any businesses the way we run government? No. So why do we do it? So I started e-signing for judges so that you don't have to wait for me to get back physically to Gretna. Why can't I just pull out my phone and sign the orders that I took care of yesterday? Calendaring. Why do we physically still send runners to get dates that mean nothing to anybody, and then you have to file a motion to continue, and then you're a few $100s in and 60, 90 days out? Not in my courtroom. I have my calendar online for an entire year. Go pick your own dates, call each other, make sure it works for everybody, and come on in at the appropriate time so that we're not wasting taxpayer dollars, not passing that off to litigants, so that you can get from point A to point B in an efficient manner, and that you don't have to constantly wait for when's my next court date, because it's all set out there. We have to modernize our civil justice system, and we have to rethink our criminal justice system to better protect our communities and save taxpayer dollars. That is why I'm running for the Louisiana Supreme Court, so that we can truly look at our system of justice and say, it's not good enough, we can do better. And I'd appreciate your support and your vote. October 12th is the election. Please get out there and vote for Schlegel. If you can say bagel, you can say Schlegel. And it's early voting starts in the 1 week on September 28th. It's an LSU Florida home game, so please make sure you early vote between September 28th and October 5th. Thank you all so much again. Vote Schlegel October 12th. Thank you all.
Scott, thank you.
Hey everybody, William Wallace, running for state representative for District 78. You've seen me up here in front of you before. Maybe you've seen me at your front door. I usually look a little bit different when I've gotten your front door. I've got sweat dripping down my face and, and everything like that, because I'm out there knocking on every door here in this city because I'm passionate about it. But since we've last talked, I've been up here and talked to you guys, I want you to know that I have been endorsed by the Greater New Orleans Republicans, the Republican Party of Louisiana, and also the Alliance for Good Government. And so they've had their eyes on me, and I've got their endorsement. I'm happy and proud to have that endorsement and want to share that news with you. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in this community for 33 years. I live in River Ridge, but this is Harahan, and we're all the same community. We're all together. It's funny when I knock on doors everywhere. It's amazing how much unity there is, and I absolutely love it. I'm happy to be a part of this community. I've never moved out of it. I've raised my kids here. I've started my business here 33 years ago, doing the same thing I'm doing today, knocking on doors. This community in Harahan and River Ridge gave me a business that I still have today, 33 years later, and that's because the people in this community are good people, and I'm committed to them. I'm invested in this community. I have a house here, and like I said, I raised my kids here. I've had some time in the Army National Guard. I spent some time there serving our country, and I'm proud to say I've done so. Now that I've been endorsed by all these great organizations, what I'd like to do is some really great things for this community. I want to find ways in this community to get rid of that smell, to improve our drainage, quality of life issues. I like to lower our insurance rates, and I would like to find ways to bring opportunity to Louisiana instead of our children and grandchildren constantly having to leave Louisiana to find it. This is important to me. I have 3 kids, and almost every door I knock on, I get stories of people whose children, grandchildren have to go to Dallas. They don't get to see their kids but on holidays. Our state can do better. Our communities can do better. We can do better. And I would like for you to send me there. I ask humbly for your vote to send me there. And as hard as you've seen me work, like I said, when I'm at your door and you see me dripping wet, I'm going to work that hard when you elect me into this office for our community. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks.
Hello, everyone, Council. My name is Arita Bohannon. I am running for State Senate in District 10. That is a very large district, about 79,000 homes, of which you are included. I have been amazed knocking on doors in Harahan and River Ridge. The people who have opened their doors, not just to invite me to have water, because he's right, it's not regular hot outside right now. It is like middle of the summer hot. Welcoming into your homes. Tonight, I had a wonderful meet and greet by one of your neighbors right here in Harahan, and we had a wonderful turnout. I'm just amazed at how welcoming everyone has been to me. It's been a wonderful experience. I love this community, and I'm proud of this district, and I can't wait to represent it. I'm a family law attorney by trade. I have a mediation clinic that I opened after watching families sort of tear each other apart for many years. And I thought there was a better way to do it, and there is a better way to do it, and we are doing that. We specialize in mediation for families. That is the kind of sanity that I'm hoping to bring to Baton Rouge. If you noticed, and I polled all of your opinions, 8 out of 10 of us believe that the legislature needs to do a better job. 8 out of 10. And I agreed with you. And I agreed with everyone who was polled. We have to do a better job. And that starts with not just digging our heels in and saying no, 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 and fighting with each other. And I don't mean Republicans fighting with Democrats. We have a House majority and we have a Senate majority. It is Republicans fighting Republicans. And if we don't put an end to it and bring some calm and peace of mind to the situation, we're going to continue to suffer, our district in particular. If you notice, we have received 0 public outlay money, and that is because the people who have represented us fight constantly, and we have to put an end to it. So I'm hoping I can earn your vote. I do have the endorsement of several very worthy organizations, crime fighters. I have the teachers union endorsing me. The firefighters have said I'm their person. I have the Alliance for Good Government, which is a very big endorsement because they actually heavily weight the candidates. And they're looking for people who are going to represent good government, not other elected officials picking them. So it's very, very important. And I'm proud to have that endorsement. It means a lot to me. But the endorsement I need next is yours. I need your support. I need your help. I need you to help me at the door. I'm out there working your streets in your neighborhood, and I appreciate the waters. I appreciate the kind words. And next, I hope to have your vote. So you can reach me online on my Facebook page, Elect Arita Bohannon. I also have a website, votearita.com, and you can easily reach me. Email me your questions. Many of you do. I always respond. Not my team, not my camp, me. Sometimes it's at 3 in the morning, but I get to you. So I appreciate it. Thank you for the time tonight, and I appreciate you guys giving us the courtesy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I wrote it down just to keep it focused, not get too emotional about it. But again, thank you, Mayor Bodier, Councilwoman. I like to refer to you as Councilwoman.
I appreciate that.
I am Maurizio Francescon. I live at 239 West Avenue, and also we'll have 181 McHugh Street. I want to mention a few things that have been on my mind. It's been crazy for me the past few weeks. Over the past few weeks, me and my family have been caring for my ailing father. Family comes first over social media. social media argument, community events that may be happening around town. I've been quiet, but I still want to be a voice of reason, understanding, a voice of argument within our community. I've not forgotten about the flooding issues that plague our community. Want to be a part of city planning and holding elected officials accountable for promises made to our community and within the state of which we live. Since my dad's death, I have slowed down to reflect about the importance of what is important and how it affects my life and others around me. I would hope this government body would also do the same with ordinance and decisions it passes. My father immigrated from Italy and came to this country legally in 1963. After renting for many years, my parents left Orleans Parish and purchased their first home in 1974 in Harahan. Harahan was considered country by the rest of our family. Sorry, I lost my place. Country by rest of our family. They would say, "Why y'all living way out there?" I know why, because by the up until the mid-1980s, Elmwood was still thick forest because we used to go rabbit hunting out there. West Imperial neighborhood was still cows, horses, chickens roaming the land. And we could still walk the trails behind the levee without the levee police telling you to scram. Harahan is tucked away from the rest of the metro area, just like my dad's hometown, just flat. Clearly, he saw this as a great place to live, rear a family, great place to live and rear his family. Family and friends is what was important to him. I am my father's son, and that's exactly what I believe today. His beliefs are instilled in me, but also have the richness of our community and the cultures of being a Harahanian and a Louisianian. My dad was not a voice in our community, like myself, but he was a part of many social circles within Harahan and within this room. This weekend is my dad's memorial at St. Rita's. I want to express my gratitude to friends and citizens within our community who expressed their condolences and who have helped our family put a celebration of his life together. Tina Maselli, my friend, and she's a friend, has graciously opened her home to host friends, family, and acquaintances to celebrate my father's life. All are welcome to attend. Attend the services and invited to the reception. Please do not be concerned attending due to our political differences. This is not the time to debate of who is right or wrong. The main difference we have with each other is how we run government. Other than that, our values, empathy for life, culture for community are the same. If you think our culture is the same, if you think about it, we are all here in this room. We are one community. We love our city, and as a community, we come together to support each other. And that's. I just also want to thank Todd. He came and helped one night when we have to put him back into the bed. So called Todd at like 1:30 in the morning, and he's like, "Maurice, I'll be there. What's the address?" So it's still very emotional to me, but I just still want to thank you for that day. So, but other than that, that's wanted to talk about what Harahan means to me. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the audience. My name is Kirk Talbot, your current state representative. 12 years ago, I stood right at this podium to announce my candidacy for the House of Representatives. I was fortunate and honored to be elected by y'all to serve those 4 years. In my second and third term, I was reelected without opposition. Now I'm running for the state senate. In those 12 years, I've fought to lower your auto insurance rates. I've dug my heels in against relentless tax increases by this governor and by others in the past, and I've stood like a rock against that. I've stood like a rock against this so-called criminal justice reform that's letting more criminals out on our streets every single day. I have fought for millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of capital outlay money that has come into Jefferson Parish, the East Bank, and this district. You've trusted me with being a state representative for 12 years, and I'm asking you to help me continue that public service, and I'd be honored to earn your vote and to serve you in the Senate for the next 4 years. Honored to have the mayor's endorsement, every member of the council, the chief of police, and I take that as a humble sign of respect, and I thank you for it, and I look forward to serving you in the state Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. No, got one more.
Got one more.
Actually, just wanted to say a positive thing. I have a new neighbor that is a new homeowner in Harahan, and she just told me of what started out as a terrible story about she had a fence that wasn't in evidently
Compliance.
was in compliance, but part of it has been there for a gazillion years. Anyway, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Chatelain, Councilman Chatelain, sorry, came to her rescue, and we did, evidently y'all did some back and forth, good back and forth, and good for y'all. Like, that's really, I voted for both of you. In fact, I voted for everybody up on this podium, and I'm glad I did. Keep doing what you're doing, and my heart breaks a little bit about some things about y'all, but also I'm happy about some things, and I just think there's a lot of negativity that's really easy to spew and be ugly about, and I just wanted to say something good.
That's right, thank you.
And
Thank you.
give some props. And, you know, she's a young, new homeowner, and thank you for doing the right thing for her.
You got it, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Another tall person. You want to come first? Okay. Judy Johnson, Oak Street. I'm so glad you said tonight you're going to give financials. It's about time. 7, 8 months, 9 months is too long to wait. At the council meeting of March 18, 2018, Mr. Brusick accused Mayor Maselli and Ms. Lulu of malfeasance in office because, according to him, they had not provided financial information. He said, and I quote, "I read the law, and if elected officials don't do what's mandated by law, it's malfeasance. Not giving financial information is malfeasance." Well, we haven't had financials from y'all since January 1st, so I guess you're all guilty of malfeasance. Hopefully, y'all gonna do better in the future. But a funny thing happened on January 1st, 2019. The administration turned mute. Not only did we not get financial information, we didn't get any questions answered of any sort. And the mayor accused me of asking questions to which I already knew the answers, which I didn't. I put in a public information request for the 2 ordinances that you waved at me at the last meeting, but I haven't gotten them yet. So I've decided to answer some questions that I'm sure these people don't know anything about. The mayor and 2 of these councilmen who constantly harped on how much the previous CPA was overpaid have now approved over $75,000 for the new CPA for 7 months. Add 5 months to that, and you wind up with over $128,000, a far cry from the $48,000 allocated by them for the previous CPA. And do y'all know how many attorneys the city now employs? We used to have 3. Now we have 7. We have the city attorney, the magistrate, and the prosecutor for court, and now we have the attorney for the Civil Service Board, plus the attorney the chief hired to fight the civil service attorney, and the attorney fighting a lawsuit at the Louisiana Supreme Court, plus another attorney hired as a city planner, all paid without a budget amendment, because none of that money was allocated in the budget. The Civil Service Board, which protects police and firemen's rights, have regularly reinstated the officers and employees who were unjustifiably fired, thus giving the employees the right to settlements. But we have no idea how much the settlements are going to cost us, because no financials have been given, nor are the figures in the check register. And how much have these attorneys cost us through August 31st? A whopping $108,515.66, a figure that comes from the city's posted check register, which is not complete. But the only attorney's fees I could find allocated in the budget was for $27,000. So the real question is, that no one but y'all can answer, where is all the money coming from? Certainly not from the budget, because most of those costs were not accounted for in the budget adopted by y'all. So it seems Mr. Brusick is right. You are guilty of malfeasance in office. And even though you won't answer any questions, this mayor and council speak out of both sides of their mouths, with one set of rules for the previous administration and another for y'all, for yourselves. Perhaps it's time for the state legislative auditor to conduct a forensic audit of the city's finances before we wind up with another huge deficit or an administrator running a bankrupt city.
Rena Sanders, Oak Avenue. Well, I was getting up here to thank all of y'all for such a good job that y'all are doing. It's just so nice to come to the meetings and see all of y'all working so hard and working together and setting goals for yourselves. And Tommy Buddy with this, you know, the audit stuff, with the sewer stuff is just absolutely amazing. You know, and the fire department, if y'all make me cry again tonight, I'm done. But, and police, I mean, just working with all of these guys, it's just amazing. You know, so I got up here to say thanks, everybody, and keep up the good work, because y'all are doing a wonderful job. And it makes me happy to come in every day, because I want to see what else is going on now. What are we working on now? Is the mayor in another sewer canal, you know, or a drainage ditch or whatever, you know? So keep up the good work, guys. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's close, address the
All right,
council.
no one else coming to speak? I'll make a motion to close, address the council.
Motion.
Go ahead and make the motion.
Make a motion to close, address the council.
Motion by Councilman.
Second.
Second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Address the council is now closed.
All right. Secretary's report for August 2019. Total revenue, $664,811.77. And reports.
Chief?
Yes. Statistics for August 2019. We had 973 calls for service. We had 14 auto accidents handled. We issued 197 citations for 247 violations. There were 3 patrol requests. 11 narcotics arrests, 17 charges, 11 of them were felonies, and 6 were city charges. Other arrests were 63 for 108 different charges, 6 felony, 79 misdemeanor, 13 city, and 10 traffic. Persons and property crimes, no murders, no rapes, no residential burglaries, no non-residential burglaries, no attempted burglaries, no motor vehicle thefts, 1 attempted motor vehicle theft, 5 larceny thefts, and non-assaults. Another great month. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Asbill?
Only one thing, I'll be quick. If you, there's still a fundraiser going on for a better Harahan. I wasn't able to make it to the event, and so I dedicated that I would, for every $10 raised, rather than sitting in the dunking booth because I wasn't there, rather than $10, every $10 raised, I'll climb one flight of stairs with some fireman gear on. We're up to 30 flights already, so we're up to $305 on that fundraiser. So if you want to continue that, you have until Saturday at noon. $10, make me climb another flight of stairs, and it'll go to the fire department.
I might take put $100 on that.
If I get up to 40, I might need a condition for about a month. So just bear with me.
No conditioning. No. Councilman Wheeler?
I just want to say, I think Saturday was just phenomenal to see everybody out there. I really had a great time. Hopefully there'll be more events. Ms. Tina, thank you and all the ladies. Y'all did just unbelievable pulling this together as quickly in the short amount of time that y'all did. I look forward to having more events, and, yeah.
Councilman Chatterley?
I'd like to thank everybody for helping with the event. Just so you know, we still have money coming in for the event. I think yesterday we received a check for $500. Today we received a check for $250.
We still have merchandise for sale?
Still have merchandise for sale. We have people who helped out in this event: Tina, Jimmy, Maria, Mardell, Jennifer, numerous other
Jessica.
people I'm probably, Jessica, numerous other people I'm probably forgetting. But to make the event a success, we need the citizens, and we had the citizens, we had the supporters, we had the sponsors, we had a great time, we had a great band, we had beautiful weather, God was definitely on our side, the food was excellent. I wish we had more people. You know, we could have accommodated 3 times the amount of people we had, but we had a very good time. It was a very big success. Just so y'all know, our fire department and police department, I think it was yesterday, they responded to a medical call in Colonial. You know, I think with the help of our police department, I mean, they had to give a guy CPR. I think basically from what I'm understanding, if they wouldn't have been there, this guy wouldn't have made it.
Saved his life.
Saved his life before paramedics could get there.
Yep.
You know, so let's give them a big round of applause for that. I know them guys, they're not looking for a round of applause. They look at it as they're doing their job. We appreciate them doing that job. I think one of the greatest things happened yesterday too. Lift station number 8. They removed that temporary pump.
That's on 9th Street.
On 9th Street. So I think that's one of the greatest things I've seen in a while.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would get in
Simple
arguments.
things, huh?
I was gonna say, it's the
Simple
little things,
things,
huh?
huh?
Yeah, it doesn't
Y'all
take
don't-
much.
Y'all don't even know what we've been
So,
through with this thing.
I went round and round with these guys, you know, and they needed special pumps, special adapters, you know, and I'm the bad guy because I always tell them, say, guys, you could build a whole subdivision in a year. I mean, what's it take to redo this lift station? So right now, I believe there's 3 pumps that go in there. 2 of the 3 are working, which can accommodate more than the portable pump that was in there working. So I believe they're working to get that 3rd pump going, and we appreciate it because basically I'd say 90% of Harahan sewer goes through that lift station. So without that lift station, 90% of the city would probably be, you know where I'm talking about.
All right.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate everything y'all do. I appreciate y'all coming here tonight, listening to us. We need to just agree to disagree and move forward. Everybody's here for the same reasons. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Buddy?
Bingo, October 4th, too.
Oh, yeah, Harry. Go ahead, well, Craig, you have to label.
No, that's all right. He got it.
Councilman Buddy?
He got it.
First of all, my condolences, Maurizio, on the passing of your father. I know that's a difficult time, but I want to compliment you on some of the things you said about what binds us together. It's important that we remember that we have much more in common, even when we disagree on an issue, that we are residents of Harahan. The Saturday's fundraiser was a wonderful event, very successful fundraiser, and thank you to all the volunteers. And it was more than just a fundraiser, though, for a good cause. It was a wonderful community event. I'm sorry for the folks who didn't get an opportunity to make it. It was just a lot of fun. It was a great family event. It was friendly, smiling faces. I think everybody who attended had a great time, and we were blessed with good weather, thankfully. I want to thank Andrew Case, who helped me out technically, because I could have not gotten that projector to work, ever. And Todd Tunilin, who helped me put together a spreadsheet so I could rationally understand the sewer fund's cash transactions over a 4-year period. I want to comment that we're going to be out of here in 3 hours tonight. This is our longest meeting of the year. However, we got through some difficult business. I think we had 9 special presentations and at least a half a dozen political candidates. So I think we did pretty good getting out here at 10 o'clock. And if I turn it over real quick, we
There
can
you
make
go.
that. Thank you
There you
very
go.
much.
All right, Councilman Johnson?
Just like everybody else said, I want to thank the volunteers and also the people that came out and supported on Saturday. It was a very, very good event. I got splashed with some ice got put in my little bath water. So
That's what you
yeah.
get.
Yeah, that's what I get. That's what I get for being last. Just like Eric was starting to bring up over at St. Rita, October 4th, they're going to be having a bingo. I think the door opens for 5:30,
Yep.
and
Oh, it
that's
is
all I have.
on. It is on.
Okay, just I'll make a couple of quick announcements. The ordinance 1082 that supplies all of our figures for our garbage assessment. I have to come in and under true transparency, just want to let everybody know that your garbage fees will go up a slight little bit to $7.10 per month from the $5 that has been allocated now. This ordinance was brought to our attention from a member of the community that brought it to my attention that gave us the ability to raise the garbage fees. And this is not something that the city's making money on. This is a pass-through. This is what it's costing us to do it now. And if the sewer fund wasn't the condition that it was in, we would be able to absorb some of these costs. But as of now, the truth of the matter is that we can't absorb any costs, because once this sewer system goes down, 5, 8, or whatever goes down, that means we're not flushing our toilets anymore. And each pump in Lift Station 8, just as a point of reference, costs $45,000. We got one in now that's been rebuilt. We got one in now that's new. I got another new one coming, and I have another new one that we're gonna put in backup, because that Lift Station 8 is incredibly important to our city. Lift Station 5, which is in Harahan Oaks, is literally being held in the air by pipes. We have to get this in. We have the engineering plans to come in and do it. If anyone likes to come to my office and see them, I'll be happy to show you, but it'll have to come out. Pylons will have to be put underneath it. Just real quick aside of that, Carlo Ferreira told me that there was an aquifer underneath that ground. I said, there's no way. I didn't really believe him until we dug into that ground on Wilson Street, and we actually saw, we hit water bubbled up like oil. And it was an aquifer. That river is trying to make, that we hit the S-turn, and as that river comes through that S-turn, it wants to go straight. Well, guess what's straight? Wilson Street and everything along that way. And that river's trying to move up underneath there, and that's been a kind of a challenge that the city has had, and one that I've had to inherit. But we are finding new aggressive solutions as far as pile driving and getting underneath that. Some of the things that I want to do, cost a little bit more to do, because I want to fix it right. I don't want to fix it again. And so I think that's being fiscally responsible. I do want to thank everybody for the For Better Harahan event. It was amazing, y'all, to watch it come together. If I do anything in 4 years, it will be to work with every single thing I got to bring this community together. I mean, I know I will never be in favor of the 8, but that's okay. Maybe one day I'll do something that they'll like, and we'll see. And just one little topic. Miss Mary made these chocolate brownie cupcakes. It made out of chocolate pudding, and I'm not even kidding you. It had to be the best cupcake I've ever had in my life. I mean, the best brownie. It had to be the best brownie I've ever had. So, Miss Mary, you are welcome at every event that we put on, so I can give me one of them chocolate brownies. So, Team Harahan, thank you guys. Thank my staff. Thank the councilman. Thank the chiefs. I really appreciate y'all busting butt. Thank Mr. Carlo. Y'all, he is my right hand, and he kills it for me.
I'm gonna put another 100 on Jason Avenue. Climbing upstairs.
So then you're going in 100, I'm going in 100. That's 2 more 100 right there. And that goes to our fire department. Thank you guys very much. Madam Clerk?
Bills paid in August, $366,893.86.
All right, no executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by?
Second.
Second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Council meeting's adjourned.